Chapter 581. Chen Shang got Hua Shangyu to arrange a secret location for him, but Hua Shangyu didn't ask what Chen Shang wanted to talk about with Fan Yakan. It was a very deep cave. Only after Fan Yakan and the old man confirmed that it was very safe in this place did they relax and sit on the chairs. Don't worry, it won't be easy for the godchild to enter this profound realm. Chen Shang guessed that the godchild of the devil-subduing college had sent someone to follow Fan Yakan. He sent for you. Fan Yakan frowned. It could be seen that he really hated that godchild. He wanted to use this to please you. He seemed to have something that he wanted to go to the sacred Dan realm for, but I did not agree to it. He is currently the owner of the devil-subduing college, so I'm afraid that I will be expelled this time. Laughed bitterly. Luckily he had remembered all of the powerful demon fighting techniques in the devil-subduing college, but he was regretful that he could not use them. A person like him is not even worthy of entering the sacred Dan realm. He abandoned the excellent environment of the heaven realm to come here, and I'm afraid the reason he came here is to find a way to enter the sacred Dan realm. Although there is a way to enter the sacred Dan realm, it's very secretive, and the method is also very troublesome. Fan Yakan said. Chen Shang did not think that he would know so many things. Can you still go back from sacred Dan realm? Chen Shang suddenly felt that Fan Yakan was a good person, and wanted to be friends with him. Of course you can. Sacred Dan realm is different from heaven realm, it's a world where transcendent existences exist. The quality of space is the same as heaven realm, it can withstand the most powerful dragons, and it won't crumble just because of the appearance of powerful dragons. However, if I want to return, I have to go to the center of Mortal Wu realm. In the center of Mortal Wu realm, isn't that the super old sacred land? There's a dragon sealed there. Chen Shang took a deep breath. In the center of the Mortal Wu realm, there's a very powerful dragon. Furthermore, that place is sealed by a formation, making it very difficult to enter. No wonder Elder Duan and I were unable to find it no matter how hard we searched. Fan Yakan looked at the old man behind him, which was the Elder Duan that he had mentioned before. This old man spoke very little, and was very strong, but he looked like he was Fan Yakan's follower. Fan Yakan's strength was also only at the level of the 100 refining realm, but he had a very strong Nirvana stage warrior as his follower. At this moment, old Duan spoke up. If it's just an ordinary dragon, I still have a way to deal with it. But, I can only delay it a bit. I think it should give the young lord some time to open the space channel. 1 hour. Fan Yakan thought for a while and said. No problem. Chen Shang was secretly happy, because he would be going to the sacred Dan realm soon. To be honest, it is very difficult to return from sacred Dan realm to this world. I just happened to be lucky and opened an ancient transmission array, and came here, and also, I cannot promise that you will bring anyone else with you. If you are discovered by the old man from sacred Dan realm, I will be punished. Fan Yakan said seriously, his expression extremely serious. Of course, Chen Shang was not afraid of not being able to come back. He had the Luo Tianmen, and as long as he had enough energy, he could open a spatial tunnel. Alright, let's go when it's time. Chen Shang immediately nodded his head. Not only was he going to the sacred Dan realm to see this sacred ground for himself, he was also going there to look for the devil-suppressing blood. If you are ready, you can set off immediately. Fan Yakan added, you must promise me, don't tell anyone that you are going to the sacred Dan realm. This matter must be kept a secret. That's easy. 10 days later, we'll meet at the biggest tree in the middle of the forest outside the city. At night, Chen Shang said, you should get rid of that godchild's tail in the next 10 days. I still have some things I need to do. What I promise you, I will definitely do. Furthermore, you yourself have the qualifications to enter the sacred Dan realm, so I will not let you go contrary to the rules of the sacred Dan realm. Su Yun said in a low voice. Fan Yakan brought his followers and left. Chen Shang anxiously went to look for Lu Meng'er and Hua Shangyu. He did not tell them that he was going to sacred Dan realm, he only hinted to them that he might need to leave for a period of time. In these 10 days, Chen Shang taught Lu Meng'er and Hua Shangyu how to learn devil-subduing method as much as possible, because he did not know when he would return. It was rare for him to go to that sacred Dan realm, so of course he would have to stay for a while inside, and it would be extremely difficult to return as well. In the blink of an eye, 10 days had passed. Chen Shang left the Dan Fragrance Pure Land quietly and arrived in the forest outside the city. Looking at the Fragrance City, he sighed. Elder Dan, I might not be able to compete with you in pill refining anymore. Going to the sacred Dan realm was a rare opportunity, and Chen Shang definitely couldn't miss it. Right now, there were only around 2 years worth of time before the agreement he had with the Elder Dan back then. Arriving beside the biggest tree, Chen Shang asked Long Shui to inspect his surroundings, so that the godchild's men wouldn't follow him over. Deep into the night, Fan Yakan and his followers arrived. When they arrived, they were extremely hidden, so much so that even Long Shui would have trouble detecting them. Brother Shen, you're in trouble. These past 10 days, Fan Yakan had done an extremely careful investigation of Chen Shang, and discovered that Chen Shang was becoming more and more compatible with his taste. Brother Fan, why do you say that? Chen Shang had stayed in the Dan Fragrance Pure Land for the past 10 days and trained with Lu Menger and Hua Shangyu all day, so he naturally did not know about what was happening outside. You were kicked out of the Devil Subduing College, they suspected that you had killed Dongfang Yao, and they even secretly gave you a bounty of 100 million spar for your life. While Fan Yakan was speaking, he saw Chen Zhang's calm face and could not help but laugh. I think Brother Shen is not putting this in his eyes. Chen Shang laughed. I've already gotten used to it, it's up to them. If you go to the sacred Dan realm, you can raise your strength here and then come back. The time there is different from here, and the spirit energy and resources there are better than here. I know that you still have many things that you cannot let go of, so you will not stay in the sacred Dan realm for long. Fan Yakan laughed. 1 month here is the equivalent of 2 years there. This is the advantage of a high-level world. Chen Shang was overjoyed. He then took out the Luo Tianmen and opened a spatial door, which was the spatial door that led to the super old sacred land. And Elder Duan were both extremely shocked to see Chen Shang create a spatial gate. They could also imagine that this spatial gate would lead to the center of Mortal Wu realm. Chapter 582. There was already a record of going to the super old sacred land in the Luo Tian gate, so Chen Shang could easily open a door to go in. As long as you step into this spatial gate, you will reach the super old sacred land. You must also deal with that dragon immediately. Chen Shang asked. Just call me Elder Duan. Duan Lao also had a good impression of Chen Shang. Don't worry, I can deal with that guy anytime. Chen Shang nodded, and then the three of them stepped through the spatial door together. After entering, they immediately felt a strong aura of a dragon, followed by the angry roar of a wild dragon, accompanied by a blade-like astral wind that blew over. Elder Duan immediately leapt into the air. Under the night sky, he was like a meteor that came from the ground as he charged towards the approaching dragon. With a loud boom, the entire super old sacred land shook violently. Light radiated and dragon roars filled the air, all the ruins inside were turned to powder by the explosive force. That strong wave of power made Chen Shang perspire profusely, as he felt extremely uncomfortable. Don't worry, with old man Duan forcing us, we'll get to the center as soon as possible. It was Fan Yakan's first time seeing a dragon, but this dragon was extremely weak in his eyes, otherwise, he would not have been held up by Elder Duan. With Long Shui's guidance, Chen Shang quickly confirmed the location of the center and rushed over with Fan Yakan. Inside the super old sacred land, violent shaking and furious dragon roars continuously sounded. It was extremely shocking and caused Chen Shang to feel slightly worried. This is the place. A stone platform that was the size of a washbasin appeared in Fan Yakan's hand. At the moment, the stone platform was emitting light, and following the flickering of the light, the stone platform slowly grew in size, quickly becoming as big as a few people. As long as I infuse enough energy, I can move this ancient formation plate and send us to the sacred Dan realm. Fan Yakan said, as he released his energy into the array disk. Just as Chen Shang had thought, this was indeed an array disk, and one that could change into smaller ones at that. This meant that the materials used to refine the array disk were extremely rare and magical, making it very easy to bring around. Do you need help? Chen Shang asked. No, this formation plate can only absorb my energy. Elder Duan, you have to hold on. Fan Yakan frowned. At this time, he and Chen Shang were inside a huge battle between the strong, and was resisting the waves of berserk energy. Chen Shang released a water wall in front of him to protect himself. In that way, both he and Fan Yakan would not be hit by the chi waves produced by the battle, but the water wall would be broken soon enough so he could only release it again. No wonder we had to seal this dragon here, this is the weakest place in the Mortal Wu realm. It is the place where people from other worlds can easily break through. This dragon is also equivalent to protecting this world. It has to be known that many people from the outside world have the ability to invade. For example, the Fire Divine Palace and the Devil Subduing College, they are both uneasy and kind, it is just that they have extremely powerful transmission arrays and can prevent them from teleporting here. Fan Yakan said. So that's how it is. No wonder there haven't been many forces from other worlds. Chen Shang looked at the place in the distance where the great battle had erupted. There was originally a gigantic mountain, but it had now been razed to the ground. As time passed, more and more spirit grain S appeared on the formation plate under Chen Zhang's feet. Although the formation plate was not big, but it was densely packed with small, intersecting spirit grain S, making him feel a headache. The more spirit grain S, the more profound they were, meaning that the stronger the formation array was, and the more energy it required. Very quickly, an hour had passed, the entire array disk had erupted with white light. Fan Yakan's face was also pale white. Elder Duan, use the great Luo golden net. Fan Yakan shouted. Chen Shang only saw a golden light suddenly flash out at the place where the great battle was taking place, while the super old sacred land that was trembling violently also quieted down, only to see Elder Duan flying over and landing on the formation plate. Let's go. Fan Yakan bellowed. Chen Shang only saw a patch of white in his surroundings, and the entire array disk was suddenly rising up quickly. Its speed was extremely fast, causing him to feel a huge pressure, as though his body was being pressed down by 10,000 kilograms. Do I have to go to another world, Sacred Dan Realm? Chen Shang clenched his fist in excitement. He could not believe it. It made him feel like he was dreaming. The Sacred Dan Realm was a world that was even higher than the Heaven Realm. There were even immortals inside. He never thought that he would be in contact with such a high-level world so soon. Let alone the people in the mortal realm, even many people in the Heaven Realm yearned for this world. Su Meiyao and Bai Yuyu, who were inside the ring, were also excited like Chen Shang. If Chen Shang could find a strong alchemist here to refine pills for them, they might be able to recover their strength earlier. Although there was a possibility, the hope was very slim, because the pills they needed were very rare and the difficulty to refine them was very high. Following a burst of white light, Chen Shang suddenly breathed a fresh air that he had never breathed in before. Welcome to Sacred Dan Realm. Fan Yakan laughed. Chen Shang only saw himself on a prairie. It was still night time, but the starlight emitted by the countless stars in the sky illuminated this prairie that was releasing this bizarre fresh air. There's no spiritual energy here. What kind of power is that? Chen Shang asked puzzledly. He actually couldn't absorb that kind of energy. This is immortal chi. It's impossible to absorb before reaching nirvana stage. If you want to absorb it, you can only use an array formation to do so. Elder Duan said. Although they had returned, Elder Duan and Fan Yakan did not look too good. Brother Shen, it's because I broke the clan rules that I decided to hide in mortal realm. However, my life in mortal realm is not suitable for me. Fan Yakan sighed. The moment I appear here, I will quickly be discovered by my family members. In order to not implicate you, Elder Duan and I will first stay away from you, so take care Brother Shen. I believe that you will definitely be able to survive in this world. We'll meet again in the future. I won't stay here for too long, and with my current strength, it will definitely be difficult to get involved in this world. So, I've collected enough resources, so I'll immediately leave if I find a way to return. Chen Shang said. We'll meet again. We'll compete then. Fan Yakan laughed and said, then quickly left with Fan Yakan. Looking at the stars in the sky, Chen Shang muttered, this is a world that I'm completely unfamiliar with. How am I supposed to find the devil-suppressing blood here? Chapter 583. Chen Shang did not know how many benefits devil-suppressing blood could bring, but since the God-child did not hesitate to come down on the heaven realm, making the devil-suppressing divine palace make such a big move, it must not be something simple. Right now, Chen Shang only knew that the devil-suppressing blood was inside the sacred Dan realm, and that he had the chance to come here, so he naturally went all out to find it. That would allow him to have the power to contend against forces at the level of the Fire Divine Palace in the future. The immortal energy here is indeed dense, but you can't absorb it. Su Meiyao said. Not necessarily. Maybe devouring magic Kung Fu can help. Bai Yuyu immediately retorted, try it. Chen Shang felt the dense immortal energy around him, and immediately activated the devouring magic Kung Fu. Very quickly, he felt a large amount of immortal energy entering his body, and what made him surprised was that the immortal energy was extremely tyrannical and turbid. Although it contained a very dense amount of energy, it was still very time-consuming to use the fire dantian to refine it. Forget it. You are not a nirvana stage, so you cannot directly purify it. It is not beneficial for you to absorb such tyrannical immortal energy into your body. Bai Yuyu said. At this time, the two girls were extremely excited, but they did not dare to come out. Although this was the sacred Dan realm, the Fan Yakan that warned Chen Shang before, that this place was also very dangerous. Where should I start now? It seems like I have to go to a place with people to understand this world. Chen Shang looked around, and did not know which direction to go. Wait, it's best if you don't let others know that you came from another world. Most of the alchemists look down on people from other worlds. Long Shui suddenly said. Oh, how do you know? Chen Shang was a little surprised. She had never mentioned this to him before. My inherited memories told me. Long Shui said proudly. Inherited memories, why didn't you tell me about the sacred Dan realm before? Chen Shang was pleasantly surprised. If Long Shui understood the sacred Dan realm, he would naturally not go around and ask so much about this world. As soon as I came to this world, my inherited memories popped out. These are memories hidden deep in my soul, only appear when necessary. Otherwise, if all my memories were gathered together, it would be a headache. Long Shui said with her charming voice. Chen Shang walked in the grassland and urged, tell me about this sacred Dan realm, where should I go now? Sacred Dan realm is a stair-type place, it's like a stair, it's higher and higher, and the area you are in right now is the lowest. If you want to go higher, you will have to climb mountains, go through extremely dangerous places, and then be able to go up one level. This sacred Dan realm has a total of 18 levels, the highest level is the place where the strongest forces gather. Long Shui said. The people in this area have more strengths than the people in the 100 refining realm, and the people in the nirvana stage have to go to a higher level. That place is more suitable for them to raise their strength, and if they mix into this level, then it will only make the people here laugh. Chen Shang sighed. In that case, all the good things are in those higher leveled places. Of course not, the good things are all on the first floor, because the first floor is the largest and is very suitable for the growth of spiritual medicines, and you can even meet immortals here to find medicinal ingredients. There is a city here, and it is controlled by the strongest powers in the sacred Dan realm at the same time. In that city, no matter what kind of bad things you do, you will be protected, and no one can fight inside, otherwise you would be equivalent to becoming the enemy of the strongest powers in the sacred Dan realm. Long Shui said. And why is this? To protect the weak? Chen Shang asked doubtfully. That city is a place where many factions use it to purchase medicinal ingredients. Since the first level is so large, there are many weaker people on the first level. It is the easiest for them to find the medicinal ingredients. Shenji didn't expect that the biggest trading ground in Sacred Dan realm would be on the first level. Of course, he was heading towards that city, where there were all sorts of different types of powerful warriors. Furthermore, it was completely safe inside. Following Long Shui's guidance, Chen Shang changed his direction and headed straight for the Sacred Dan city. Little naughty dragon, is this Sacred Dan realm's memories your father? Chen Shang asked curiously. Of course, with how powerful my father is, it's not strange that he could come to this Sacred Dan realm. Long Shui arrogantly said, my father seemed to be looking for something all those years ago and he was also looking for something on the first level. He didn't tell me the specifics. It would consume a lot of time, so he might as well just buy it. In any case, he had a large amount of wealth in his possession, especially those medicinal ingredients that could refine heaven-level pills, which were also very expensive in the Sacred Dan realm. What does this Sacred Dan realm normally trade for? I have quite a lot of Junyuan Dan on hand right now, if I don't want them, I would have to raise more. Chen Shang said worriedly, in the mortal realm, Junyuan Dan and spar are currency, and they have a lot of uses. There are only spar here, but there are still a lot of people with low strength here. Your Junyuan Dan should be able to exchange for quite a few spar, so it shouldn't be any cheaper than the mortal Wu realm, especially on the first floor where there are many people. Long Shui guessed. Sacred Dan City was a huge city surrounded by tall stone walls. Furthermore, there was a very strong array formation, which was unable to fly in from the sky nor could it fly out. When entering and exiting, one would have to pass through the city gates. After entering the city, Chen Shang saw many pill stores. There were a lot of people here. On the road he could find some Nirvana stage warriors. Although this was the Sacred Dan realm, not everyone refined pills here. It was just that the medicinal pills here were older and more refined, and compared to the other worlds, there were more high-ranking alchemists here, and there were even some that were above the Dan King. The Dan Immortal was an alchemist that was capable of refining immortal pills. This kind of alchemist was extremely rare and did not even have a single individual in the billions, but in the case of the heaven realm, it was a very respected existence in many forces, only second to the person in charge. There is a strict alchemist assessment in sacred Dan City, but the ranking of Dan Fragrance Pagoda is different. I don't know the specifics, but this is the most authoritative proof of an alchemist. Long Shui said. Although it was extremely expensive, there were quite a few of them. This meant that the resources in the sacred Dan realm were very rich, which made him feel at ease, because from the medicine stores, he knew that there was a market for genuine Dan-s, especially for the powerful forces, who needed this kind of pill. Chapter 584. Chen Shang had learned from Long Shui that the sacred Dan realm was a world ruled by the alchemist. In the lowest level of the sacred Dan realm, he could see that there were a lot of followers in the alchemist, and the strengths of these followers were all different. A warrior would need to rely on the alchemist to gain power, so of course the strength of the alchemist was not weak. They brought along even more powerful followers with them, all in order to show their identity and ability. Warriors who did not know how to refine pills, being able to climb onto the alchemist, was a very fortunate thing. Otherwise, they would have to bitterly look for medicinal herbs, then trade for spars, and then buy expensive medicinal pills. Those alchemists, in order to make their followers stronger, had many powerful martial arts in their hands. They would let their followers learn from them, making it so that their followers would be even more dedicated to them. In this world, people could easily be bought and sold. Chen Shang had just passed a place that was specialized in trading slaves, men and women alike, young and old, all of whom had miserable fates. On the wide street, there were many pedestrians, majority of the people here were fire attributed, and Chen Shang could feel that many people's fire attributed innate chi was extremely pure, showing that many people were refining pills, just that they did not have any major achievements. Suddenly, a crisp and cold yell came from the front, "Those who don't care about their lives, quickly get out of the way." The people on the street immediately moved to the sides with helpless expressions on their faces. It was obvious that they were used to such things, and yet Chen Shang heard the sounds of whipping. At this moment, only he was still standing in the middle of the street, and he could see that on the street that opened up a path, there were 4 big men bare-chested, holding a large cart that looked like it was made of white jade and running at top speed. In the cart, there was a tall woman wearing a black dress and a black veil covering her face, and she was swinging a black whip at the men, as if she was chasing them. Moreover, they were like horses being whipped by others. Even though their bodies were covered with whipping marks, they could only clench their teeth as they pulled the white jade carriage and ran frantically. This was the first time Chen Shang had seen such a scene, causing him to frown. He could not understand why these 4 big men with genuine Kung Fu realm cultivation would do such a lowly thing, as if they were slaves. After reacting, Chen Shang started to move, retreating into the crowd, and that car had already arrived. The black-dressed woman on top, who had a pair of beautiful eyes filled with ice, stared angrily at Chen Shang, and lashed out with her whip, which carried an extremely strong true qi, causing Chen Shang to feel as though it was a soft sword stabbing towards him. "Brat, you dare to block my path. I'll teach you a lesson," the woman coldly said as she brandished her whip. HMPH. Chen Shang coldly snorted as he moved like lightning, grabbing onto the long whip that was fiercely lashing towards him with an unbelievable speed. After that, with a large pull, he actually pulled the woman off the carriage. This made everyone tremble with fear. The people in the city all knew what kind of person this woman was. No one dared to provoke her, but right now, there was actually someone who dared. Seeing Chen Zhang's actions, the surrounding people quickly dispersed after seeing the surprise. They hid in the distance and looked at Chen Shang as if he was a dead man. She did not expect that someone would receive her whip so easily, as if they were grabbing onto straw. That whip was an angry whip and used all of her innate chi, but Chen Shang had dissolved the innate chi that she had condensed on the whip with ease. Furthermore, he even injected a strong suction force that caused her hand to tightly grip the whip, and then remove her. "How dare you? You're courting death." The voice of the woman in the black dress seemed to come from the depths of hell, bringing with it a cold and merciless killing intent. "I'm not in your way." Chen Shang was still holding onto the whip tightly. He was wearing the tiger skin glove on both his hands, which was an assassin's hand. Receiving the woman's whip was a piece of cake for him. Chen Shang truly did not block her way, but because he was slightly slower than the others, he was attacked by the lady, causing him to become extremely angry. "You have that kind of strength, so you shouldn't be so ignorant. Don't you know who I am?" If you provoke me, I can have over 100 ways to make you regret coming to this world. The lady in black pulled with all her might, wanting to pull the whip back. Even though she had used all her strength, Chen Shang was like a mountain, unmoving. The black-dressed lady was very powerful. Chen Shang had only used the Taiji dragon suppressed Kung Fu's ingenious method of channeling energy in order to dissolve her ferocious and overbearing power. You were the one who was wrong. Chen Shang frowned. Previously Long Shui had told him that he could not casually make a move in Sacred Dan City, or else he would be sanctioned by the powers in charge of the Sacred Dan City. However, it seemed that it was not the case, because from the reactions of the people on the street, he could tell that this woman in black dress was the type of person who would flaunt her skills here, and she could even make a move as she pleased. Let go of my whip, I don't have time to fight with you today, I will remember you. The lady in black said coldly, while Chen Shang released her whip. The woman in the black dress put away her whip and jumped onto the white jade cart in front of her. The woman in the black dress put away her whip and jumped onto the white jade cart in front of her. Lad, hurry up and run. You're dead for sure. A kind old man walked past Chen Shang and shook his head as he sighed. Many people shook their heads and sighed. It was commendable for them to have the courage to fight against this woman in black dress, but it meant that they had to become enemies with her. Even if they didn't die, they would have to lead a desperate life. Who is this woman? Chen Shang chased after the old man and asked anxiously. This woman is the Sacred Dan City's mayor. Although her power is not in the Nirvana stage, she has a great background. Her father is the Dan King, her grandfather is the Dan Immortal, and she is also a female alchemist with outstanding talent. She can rule over this Sacred Dan City, and she can kill anyone she wants in this city. The old man looked at Chen Shang with pity in his eyes. Chen Shang was also shocked. His origins were huge. His grandfather was a Dan Immortal and he himself was the city lord. Even so, Chen Shang was not worried at all. In his opinion, as long as there were problems that could be solved with money, they were not considered problems at all. Since this woman was an alchemist, then things would be much easier to handle. Chapter 585. Just when Chen Shang found out about the identity of the woman in the black skirt, he immediately noticed several pairs of eyes that were filled with killing intent staring at him. Otherwise, with her personality, she would definitely take you down immediately. But she didn't. You better follow her and see, maybe you can find something interesting. Since she is an alchemist, and is able to make her so anxious, I think it should be related to some spiritual medicine or something like that. Long Shui said. The corner of Chen Zhang's mouth raised slightly, he swept a glance at those people who were staring at him. He guessed that those people wanted to capture him, and if he was caught, then give him to the city lord, he would definitely be rewarded. Fine, we'll go out of the city to meet this woman and resolve the misunderstanding. I'll stay here for a long time, so I don't want to be the most aggressive woman here. Chen Shang circled the streets a few times, easily shaking off the few people who were following him, and walked out of the Sacred Dan City. The female city lord was being watched by Long Shui using the heaven tour method, and after Chen Shang left the city, he turned into a bird and flew quickly in the air. His speed was extremely fast, and before long, he saw the human wheel flying on the ground. The four burly men seemed to be born with the ability to pull carriages, and when pulling them outside the city, their speed was extremely fast. The demon chi in front is so dense. Look, Long Shui suddenly shouted. Chen Shang immediately looked in front. Sure enough, a large mountain in front of them was shrouded in black gas. The surging devil air came from that direction. What's going on? This is the demonic energy that appears when a large number of demon beasts gather together in the demon world. Fortunately, it's black demonic energy, and if it's invisible and colorless, then it means that the demon beasts are very powerful and are all from Nirvana stage. Bai Yu said in shock. Maybe there are some cracks here too, but unlike the tunnel that is connected to the demon world above Chen Martial continent, this is a crack that is connected to the demon world. Powerful devil cultivator are usually unable to pass through this crack, otherwise, they would be torn apart. Su Meiyao said. Suddenly, in the forest below Chen Shang, countless black wolves the size of bulls rushed out. On their backs were riding tall and sturdy men, their skin was extremely dark, their faces were filled with malevolence, and their bodies emitted a demonic chi. It was obvious that they were from the demon realm. These devil cavalry soldiers numbered in the tens of thousands as they madly rushed out from the forest. The group of beasts galloped forward as well as their furious roars shook the heaven and earth, resounding in all directions, shaking everyone's hearts. The Devil Wolf Cavalry of the Devil Realm are all equivalent to 9th section of genuine Kung Fu Realm, and there are actually more than 50,000 of them. Looks like the strength of the Devil Realm has grown so fast over the years, but the Devil Realm that has a channel with the Sacred Dan Realm must be extraordinary. This Sacred Dan Realm is of the same rank as the Heaven Realm, so the Demon and Devil Realms that is related to this Sacred Dan Realm at that time is also of the same rank. Bai Yu's words shocked Chen Shang. 50,000 9th section of genuine Kung Fu Realm warriors of the Demon Realm were riding vicious and violent demon wolves, and that was only a small number. The city lord stopped her car and looked at the army of Devil Wolf Cavalry in front of her with a stern expression. The 4 men pulling her white jade carriage were all trembling in fear. A burst of black fog suddenly came out from the forest and stopped in front of the cavalry army, turning into a fierce big man dressed in black armor. Du Yanyao, are you here to stop me again? This time, my great army has increased to 50,000, so it is certain that your Sacred Dan City will be flattened. The old fellows of Sacred Dan City are not in the city right now, right? The commander of the Devil Wolf Cavalry laughed. Chen Shang never thought that there would be such a spicy woman, her name sounded so gentle. Even if you stomp the Sacred Dan City flat, you will be destroyed sooner or later. Du Yanyao said coldly, the long whip in her hand suddenly striking the ground, causing a crisp explosion sound that resounded in the sky, shaking the earth and causing it to tremble. Her imposing manner was strong enough to make the giant black wolves with mouths full of fangs tremble. Ha ha eh, those old fellows should be discussing how to seal the fissure, but they didn't expect that all of us in the Demon Realm army aren't afraid of death. We are alive to kill, to either kill others or to be killed by others, so our lives are destined to end in killing. The commander laughed wildly. Du Yanyao seemed to have fought with them more than once. Now, facing these tens of thousands of Devil Wolf Cavalry, she was still calm and composed. This point of courage made Chen Shang admire her a lot. Chen Shang was currently spiraling in the air, watching the movements below him. The giant black wolves and the Demon Realm warriors with berserk strength were like energy in his eyes. Ever since he had grasped the Fire Dantian in the Fire God method, he had been able to refine all kinds of energy. But there had to be enough for him to swallow, and right now there was a whole bunch of them. The ones wearing the armor are all relatively powerful, there are at least a few hundred of them below, and all of them look like they are in the mid to late stage of spirit martial realm. Long Shui said. This was also Chen Zhang's main goal. Only by engulfing all these would he be able to obtain a large amount of energy for him to refine. Capture this woman alive and let us enjoy the taste of her, haha. The commander laughed wildly, causing Du Yanyao to instantly be enraged. In just a few moments, Demon Realm warriors wearing black armor quickly rushed out from the army and surrounded Du Yanyao. She is not weak, but based on her sea of people tactics, she won't be able to hold it off for long. She will strike at the right time, and this will be able to dissolve the misunderstanding between you and her. Bai Yu said. Of course, Chen Shang was very clear about this fact. He had been circling in the air, waiting for the best opportunity to strike, and his target was the commander-in-chief. How can this woman be so stupid? She actually barged in by herself. Don't tell me she has something to rely on. Just as Chen Shang was wondering, dozens of Demon Realm warriors suddenly made their moves. They released wave after wave of explosive roars, their mouths spewing out streams of black energy that condensed into black lances, thrusting towards Du Yanyao like a shower of rain. Du Yanyao shouted and leapt up, dodging the pikes that were condensed out of violent energy. Her white jade carriage and the 4 burly men instantly shattered into pieces. Just as Du Yanyao landed on the ground, the dozens of black-armored men brandished their blood-red long blades and came to her side. With a series of fierce slashes, the blade unleashed a strong black chi, which formed into countless blade chi that covered Du Yanyao from all directions. Du Yanyao did not show any weakness as she coldly snorted. She raised her jade hand, and the long whip in it began to wildly spin in the air, forming a spiral to protect her. The chance has come. Chen Shang had been staring at the commander this whole time, and at this time the commander was thinking very highly of him, so he did not care about the danger that was lurking in the sky. Chapter 586. Chen Shang, who had transformed into a bird in the air, flew above the commander. Suddenly, he changed his appearance and a green dragon demon-slain broadsword appeared in his hands, shining with a green light. As he channeled in his strong innate chi, when he slashed out, the weight of the blade could reach more than 1 billion pounds. Golden light swirled around the green dragon demon-slain broadsword. This was the devil-suppressing chi. It had a very deadly killing power towards the demon, and when it descended from the sky, the energy it condensed was even more powerful. He not only wanted to use the devil-suppressing chi, but also the devil-subduing method. Ever since he had learned devil-subduing method, he had never tried it on the demons. Now was a good opportunity. Chen Shang, who had suddenly appeared in the air, fell like a blazing sun. In that instant, an incomparably boundless killing intent surged out from his body, actually enveloping the demonic chi of the tens of thousands of devil army, shocking everyone present. The commander quickly realized that the killing intent was coming from up in the sky. He raised his head and saw that the golden light that Chen Shang was emitting was stinging his eyes, and that kind of light made him extremely uncomfortable. A series of rapid and clear thunderbolts shook the sky. That kind of thunderclap seemed to pierce through space. The divine saber was slashed down, bringing with it a torrential surge of energy. It was unstoppable, sweeping everything in its path. Even the powerful armor of the commander was chopped into two halves by the divine saber from head to legs. After chopping down, Chen Zhang's hand was lightning fast, grabbing the white ball of air that came out of the commander's body. He stuffed it into his mouth, activated Fire Dantian, and released the refined power to quickly refine it. The entire audience was silent. They couldn't believe that their commander had been chopped in half in an instant. This was the commander they worshipped, and he was extremely strong. But now he had died so suddenly. After the deathly silence passed, a series of crazed and furious roars came out. Even the dozens of black-armored men surrounding Du Yanniao acted like they were crazy, and rushed towards Chen Shang. Chen Shang, who was standing in the middle of the army, had a look on his face, and actually revealed a smile, his body suddenly emitting a gold light, the golden mist following his body and trembling, blowing in all directions. This was the devil-suppressing chi. When touched by these demons, they could not help but retreat, their faces full of disgust. However, just as they were about to pounce, Chen Shang waved the divine blade in his hand, causing them to be unable to see how he wielded the blade. They could only see that there were two golden arcs in the air, and the few black-armored men who were pouncing over were all broken at the waist before shattering into pieces, causing the ball of energy in his dantian to be sucked into Chen Zhang's mouth. Most of the energy of these Devil Realm martial artists was in their bodies. Those masses of energy only accounted for 10% of the energy in their bodies. It was very little, but it was the purest energy in their bodies. A few more commanders had died, and it was just a split second. In addition to the devil-suppressing chi that had appeared on Chen Zhang's body, many demon realm warriors were secretly terrified, especially when they were enveloped by that invisible and terrifying killing intent. Kill him. A black-armored burly man rushed over, but at this time, Chen Shang suddenly jumped into the air. With a clear cry that reverberated in the horizon, two balls of flames suddenly spewed out from Chen Zhang's back, a pair of gigantic fire wings suddenly condensed behind him. The gigantic Suzaku fire wing spread its wings for more than 3 kilometers, and the incomparable heat immediately enveloped them. That scorching heat accompanied the devil-suppressing chi as it swept down, causing the demon realm warriors to feel extremely hot all over. City Lord Du, quickly get away from this place. Chen Shang shouted loudly, and a strong burst of flame aura burst out, pressing the demon wolves and demon realm warriors below into an explosive roar. Du Yanniao's expression was still cold. At this moment, she too felt an inexplicable fear toward Chen Shang. Her overflowing killing intent, her incomparably powerful flames, were all things she had never seen before. Du Yanniao flew a few steps and arrived at a distant place. At that moment, she saw that Chen Shang, who was in the air, had suddenly started to spin, and the pair of gigantic fire wings started to spin with him, creating gusts of air currents. Very quickly, they turned into a gigantic fire dragon tornado, engulfing all the devil martial cultivators and demon wolves inside. In her view, without the Nirvana stage's strength, it was impossible to do it, but she could tell that Chen Zhang's cultivation level was not higher than the Nirvana stages, otherwise the group of Devil Wolf Cavalry S would have already been turned into ashes. Devouring magic Kung Fu. Chen Shang roared in his heart, as he absorbed all of the remaining energy clumps that were burnt by the demon-suppressing flame. This incomparably powerful energy crazily flowed into his body, causing him to feel as if countless large rivers were surging within his veins. When this energy entered his body, it was instantly refined by the refined power. After using the Taiji dragon-suppressed Kung Fu, it rapidly flowed into his dantian and condensed in the beast statue. Chen Shang, who had entered the soul martial realm, was like an ant to him. It was normal for him to be able to kill off so many devil realm warriors with 9th section of genuine Kung Fu realm. There's too much energy. I wonder if I can condense 8,000 Junyuan granule. That way, I can enter the middle stage of the soul martial realm. Chen Shang thought. At this moment, his body was being surrounded by a large amount of energy, waiting to be devoured. Let's stay away from that woman first. I don't want to be attacked by her. Long Shui said. Chen Shang suddenly stopped his purgatory tornado technique and flapped his gigantic wings. In a few blinks of an eye, he had already left the mountain forest shrouded in demonic energy, and left Sacred Dan City. Du Yanyao frowned. She was currently searching through the memories in her mind, trying to see what kind of power or clan in Sacred Dan realm would have such a monster within them, to actually be so powerful. Seeing Chen Shang leave, she heaved a sigh of relief. Not long after Chen Shang left, a ball of flames suddenly lit up behind Du Yanyao, and a middle-aged man appeared. This middle-aged man was wearing a black robe. He took a deep breath and said, "This is a murderous intent, but this is the first time I've seen it. Yan Yao, what's happening here? Dad, let's talk when we get back." Du Yanyao was considering whether she should keep the news of Chen Shang a secret, but seeing her thoughtful look, the middle-aged man did not ask any more, as he knew his daughter. Chen Shang hid in a desolate mountain forest and refined the energy whirlpools that still lingered around his body. If I had a few more batches of these devil army, I wonder if I would be able to reach the peak of the extreme realm. Chen Shang now desired more power. Chapter 587. Only 3 days had passed. Chen Shang had completely swallowed all the energy and refined it into pure innate qi, compressed it into the Junyuan granule in his dantian, thus allowing the Junyuan granule to gain an increase of 4,000 pills. Now, he had a total of 84,000, he still needed to compress a large amount of innate qi and ignite another 4,000, he would be able to break through and obtain the power of giving of the martial way. He came out from the forest and sprinted towards the Sacred Dan City. He wanted to make the best use of his time and find the devil suppressing blood and then return to Mortal Wu realm. In this Sacred Dan realm, there would be dangers everywhere too, as long as there were powerful forces here. He who controlled a large amount of spirit medicine resources would sooner or later clash with those powers. Within the Sacred Dan City, when Chen Shang went in, he immediately felt everyone's expression turn heavy. It was obvious that they knew that a spatial rift had appeared not far away from the city walls, that there were many devil cultivator from the demon world and demon beasts that had come through it. This caused them to be more or less worried. However, Chen Shang did not mind at all. In this world where immortals existed, the crack would very quickly be blocked, and even if they did not gamble, the devil cultivator and the beasts that came would not be able to make it. Chen Shang wandered around Sacred Dan City for half a day and heard many detailed information about this Sacred Dan realm. For example, the distribution of power in this Sacred Dan realm, as well as some other major events. The city lord Du Yanyao of the Sacred Dan City was precisely the Du family. The Du family was a huge family that was distributed throughout the 18th floor of the Sacred Dan realm. The Sacred Dan City that Du Yanyao was in charge of was the largest city in the Sacred Dan realm. "Little scoundrel, you're being watched," Long Shui reminded. "He's not strong." Chen Shang had also just discovered something. He paid a little attention and discovered that there were 8 people following him. Their strengths were all above 100 refining realm, all of them looked normal, but their entire bodies were filled with dense and pure innate qi. Only those who cultivated with a high level of cultivation or who consumed pills over a long period of time would be able to reach such a level. Could it be that it's because I offended that female city lord last time? Chen Shang thought, and continued to stroll on the street, and the person following him slowly walked over. Very quickly, Chen Shang was surrounded by these 8 people. "We are from the City Lord Palace. The second City Lord has ordered for us to bring you there," a large man coldly said. The Sacred Dan City had 3 City Lords, and the Great City Lord was Du Yanyao. The second City Lord and the 30% Master were also part of the Du family, but they did not have any Du family blood in them. They were all raised up by the Du family and were completely loyal to the Du family. "Don't mess around, I'll just follow you guys," Chen Shang said in a low voice, his voice carrying a hint of gloominess, causing the person who was grabbing his arm to tremble, as he looked at Chen Shang with fear. Just like this, Chen Shang was surrounded by these 8 people as he walked towards the City Lord Palace. That second City Lord was a man, and grew up in the Du family. Chen Shang had heard a few rumors before, which said that the second City Lord and 30% of the Masters all wanted to obtain Du Yanyao. However, whether it was strength or status, they were all far inferior to Du Yanyao, so there was definitely no chance of it. Chen Shang was currently standing outside a luxurious house. A handsome man dressed in gorgeous clothes, who was playing with 3 beads in his hands, slowly walked out from inside as he held 3 beads in his hand. Then, a few people hurriedly took out a luxurious chair for him to sit on. This man was the second city lord. He was arrogant, petty, ruthless. He was an extremely sinister person, able to reach this step in power under the Du family. Without any methods, it was impossible for him to do so. At this moment, he was being highly valued by the Du family, becoming the second city lord of the sacred Dan city, and not being in the Du family, he was naturally not restricted too much, and revealed his surname. "Why aren't you bowing when you see second city lord?" A burly man roared, and then fiercely kicked Chen Zhang's knee, but Chen Shang remained unmoving, and steadily stood there. Although his leg was powerful enough to shatter a rock, he acted like he was fine. Chen Shang looked straight at second city lord Gong Senliang, and coldly said, "Why have you called me here? If there is nothing else, don't waste my time." Gong Senliang frowned, his face filled with anger, only to see a big-sized man shouting, "Impudent, second city lord summoning you, that is your honor. Not only are you not bowing, you are even being rude to second city lord, you are seeking death." As he said that, the big-sized man slapped Chen Shang. "Too slow." Chen Shang sneered, his palm was like lightning, bringing with it the power of thunder. His palm struck the big-sized man's wrist, a burst of flames burst out, the big-sized man screamed out in pain. On his wrist, there was actually smoke, the smell of burnt flesh pervaded out. After Chen Shang crippled the big-sized man's arm with one palm, his leg was wrapped in a ball of intense flames, releasing a scorching chi, which flew out like lightning, jumping from the bottom to the top, kicking the big-sized man's chin. The people around could only hear the sound of bones shattering, and the big-sized man flew out, falling onto the ground as he screamed in pain. "Humph!" Chen Shang snorted. "Lawless, go and capture this B*****. A big man rushed forward. "Wait." Gong Senliang finally spoke with a lazy voice. It was true that Chen Zhang's attack just now had shocked him, but he wasn't afraid of Chen Shang at all. Gong Senliang lazily stood up and walked towards Chen Shang with his hands behind his back. He said in a slightly cold voice, "I have already been in second city lord for 30 years, but this is still the first time someone dares to be so ruthless in front of me. I usually don't care about the lives of people that I don't care about." Gong Senliang's voice suddenly became sinister, his entire body releasing a strong killing intent. His 5 fingers opened up, and like a hawk grabbing a rabbit, he bent over forcefully, bringing a strong burst of innate chi, rushing towards Chen Zhang's head. Chen Shang was already prepared for this, he opened his mouth and roared. And a clear dragon's roar suddenly exploded out, the sound resonating in all directions. A ray of cyan light shining from his mouth transformed into a gust of astral wind accompanied by lightning, which mixed with a violent and furious bolt of lightning, and instantly smashed onto Gong Senliang's palm, causing a burst of berserk thunder to sound out, and the astral wind, which carried an extremely berserk lightning presence, also blew Gong Senliang's hair into a mess, and his entire body was in a mess. Chen Shang had only used his strongest green dragon genuine chi and roared out the green dragon howler, but with this roar, not only did it dissolve Gong Senliang's vicious attack, it had also caught him off guard. Second city lord. After the big-sized men saw this, they shouted loudly, and rushed over, pulling out their sharp blades, fiercely slashing at Chen Shang. The blades carried a strong amount of innate chi, and wanted to hack Chen Shang into pieces. Chapter 588. The people around him would rush over. Chen Shang had already expected this. The people around him would rush over. Chen Shang had already expected this. A few big blades slashed down, but they missed, because they only hit an illusion. Chen Shang used his water mirror technique to dodge and hid in the air. "Up there!" Gong Senliang shouted loudly, but as soon as he said that, a gigantic golden palm pressed down like a small mountain, bringing with it a huge amount of pressure as it smashed down. The wave of air crushed the stone tiles on the ground into powder, and the few big men couldn't help but fall to the ground as though they were enduring the pressure of millions of kilograms of strength. With a rumbling sound, the ground trembled. Before those few big guys could even scream, they were crushed into meat paste by that palm made from golden genchi, sinking deep into the ground. "I don't usually let people who want to kill me live." Chen Shang waved his hand, and the ground was set ablaze, burning all the corpses. "HMPH, don't think that just because you have some strength, you can brag about it. Let me tell you, this is the City Lord Palace, you can't even escape now." Gong Senliang only looked to be in a sorry state, but he was not injured. Saying that, he took a step in front of Chen Shang, his fists and palms flying, the wind brought with it electricity, and in a moment, countless of shadows of fists and palms appeared, releasing blazing flames and raging thunder and lightning energy, smashing towards Chen Shang from all directions. Gong Senliang used all his strength. The sudden attack was like a wave of thunder and fire, instantly rushing towards Chen Shang. Chen Shang did not expect Gong Senliang's attack to be so tyrannical. His reaction was just a bit slower, but his upper body still got hit by a dozen of fists. The powerful force pierced through Chen Zhang's body and struck the stone wall behind him, shattering it. And the aura and disturbance that was emitted from the stone wall, in the quiet city Lord Palace, was extremely big. It was impossible to not alert others. Everyone stop. An ice-cold shout came out. This was Du Yanyao's voice. However, Gong Senliang acted as if he did not hear it. His fist was intertwined with traces of electric light. Flames surged out wildly and one of his arms slightly expanded, a large amount of innate qi gathering on his arm. Gong Senliang bellowed. He shot towards Chen Shang like an arrow. The powerful force behind the punch struck the air, causing a true explosion, as though space itself was about to split apart. When the fist arrived in front of his eyes, Chen Shang extended his hand and grabbed. The genuine qi of universe coiled around the surface of the tiger's fist, releasing a large amount of power. When he tried to squeeze Gong Senliang's fist tightly, he deflected the berserk power, but Chen Shang was still pushed back dozens of steps by the fist. Gong Senliang's expression immediately changed. He did not expect Chen Shang to be so powerful, to be able to block his powerful punch with just a grab. If it was a warrior that had the same cultivation as him, he would at least be heavily injured. Go to hell. Chen Zhang's face darkened, killing intent flashed past his eyes. He used his strength to crush Gong Senliang's fist. Gong Senliang let out a miserable scream. Save me. No one can save you. Chen Shang shouted angrily. The dragon power immediately appeared. His palm that was surrounded by a vigorous dragon power, shook the air and suddenly smashed onto Gong Senliang's chest. At the same time that the vibrating power surged, there was the sound of pa 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 pa. 10 crisp sounds pierced through the clouds. The heaven-blasting palm activated by the dragon power turned into a 10th layer of devil-suppressing power. Its power was terrifying. Upon hitting Gong Senliang's body, Gong Senliang's back suddenly split open, blood mist gushed out. Please show mercy. Seeing that it was Chen Shang, Du Yanyao anxiously shouted. However, Chen Shang completely ignored him and continued to strike out at the heavily injured and half-dead Gong Senliang. His palms continued to produce berserk shockwaves and sky-shattering sounds as they mercilessly smashed onto Gong Senliang's body. In the blink of an eye, Gong Senliang's body had already turned into a pile of mud. It had been a very short time, but it made the people who had just arrived feel their scalps go numb, shocked and fearful. In their eyes, this arrogant and tyrannical second city lord had died just like that, and in such a miserable manner. Because Du Yanyao was here, the others were all silently waiting for her order to capture Chen Shang. However, they didn't want to fight with this mysterious and terrifying man in front of them, so they didn't want to die as miserably as Gong Senliang. Du Yanyao floated down gently and stood in front of Chen Shang. She was still wearing her black dress, making her body emit a strange beauty, but at the same time, it made her exude a noble aura. She had a goose-egg-shaped face, and was mature and beautiful, but her beautiful face looked like it was born not knowing how to laugh. What's going on? Du Yanyao indifferently swept a glance at the unorthodox Gong Senliang. Although the person who died was second city lord, in her eyes, he was no different than an ant. It could be seen how unimportant Gong Senliang was in her eyes. The moment Du Yanyao appeared, Chen Shang stared at her, unrestrainedly looking at that ice-cold and mesmerizing oval face. In the past, whenever he looked at a woman's face, he would more or less glance at her figure, estimating her size, but this Du Yanyao's face was extremely captivating, making him unable to help himself from looking at her a few more times. He invited me here to kill me, so I had to retaliate in order to protect myself. Chen Shang answered honestly. Right now, the innate qi was gathering in his 4 limbs, preparing to attack at any time. He wouldn't let down his guard just because the opponent was a charming woman. Du Yanyao had also been staring at Chen Zhang's face the entire time. The two of them just stared at each other without saying a word, but their bodies were releasing an invisible aura, causing no one to dare come close. Who the hell are you? Du Yanyao's tone became slightly more gentle as she asked this. I'm just tired of staying in the deep mountains. I didn't expect that I would encounter so many unpleasantness when I came out for a walk. Sigh. Chen Shang shook his head and sighed. If you want to capture me, then do it, but I'm telling you, it's not easy to capture me. You can go. After Du Yanyao finished speaking, she said to a big-sized man, send him out. There is no need for anyone else to interfere in the conflict between him and I, or else we will be fighting against me, Du Yanyao. It was filled with power and voice, intimidating those who wanted to take Du Yanyao's good impression by attacking him in private. Hearing these words, they wouldn't dare to attack Chen Shang in the future, since they didn't have the strength to do so either, otherwise, their fates would be the same as Gong Senliang's. Chen Shang walked out of the City Lord Palace and heaved a sigh of relief. That Du Yanyao was even harder to deal with than he had imagined. Last time it looked like she was surrounded, but Chen Shang had not seen her true strength. Furthermore, her demeanor just now was as if everyone around was an ant. This woman's background is too noble, determining her character. Moreover, she lacks discipline. If she were to lose a bit of spirit and not reveal her edge, it would definitely be good. Su Meiyao laughed, you little scoundrel, are you interested in me now? Chen Shang curled his lips and said, compared to her esteemed status, Sister Meiyao and Sister Yu are only on 10 streets in a second, what does she count as? What's more, I have the noble royal dragon of Little Naughty Dragon as my friend, isn't it just a granddaughter of a Dan Immortal? This old one will also become a Dan Immortal sooner or later. Quote. That's right, Sister Meiyao has been taken away by a little scoundrel like you, and you have the Empress Lu Munger and a beautiful little fairy like Shui Shenxian by your side. Of this Dan Immortal's granddaughter is nothing. Long Shui was elated when she heard Chen Shang praising her. Chapter 589. After leaving the City Lord Palace. As the sky grew dark, Chen Shang found an inn to stay at and started to think of a plan. Right now, he was going to search for devil-suppressing blood in the sacred Dan realm, but he did not have a single clue, and did not know where to start searching. The devil-suppressing heavenly venerable is a person, all of us here respect him a lot. If he had really come to the sacred Dan realm, this old bastard in the sacred Dan realm would definitely know of some things about him. If he could come into contact with those old bastards, he would have a solution. Long Shui said. The last time Chen Shang came, he had met some people from the Nirvana stage walking on the streets, but he did not encounter any of them since he came today. Long Shui said that there was a possibility of him meeting immortals in the sacred Dan city, but immortals might not necessarily be those old bastards, and it would be extremely difficult to find those old fellows who were familiar with the affairs of the devil-suppressing heavenly venerable. Isn't Du Yanyao's grandfather a Dan Immortal? To be able to become a Dan Immortal, you must have lived for a very long time. Su Meiyao said. Based on a woman's intuition, I feel that this Du Yanyao does not hate you, and might even want to befriend you. Chen Shang smiled slightly. Looks like I have to go meet her tonight. Since she's an alchemist, it's a lot easier. Let me help you pack a nature fruit, and give it to her, it shouldn't be a problem. Even if the sacred Dan realm has these things, it won't be too much, so giving it to her won't be a problem. Su Meiyao said. Chen Shang could get a lot of these things, giving them to him in exchange for information about the devil-suppressing blood. It was nothing. Even entering the City Lord Palace would be extremely difficult, unless one were to exit from the entrance. In the darkness of the night, Chen Shang turned into a black butterfly and easily snuck into the City Lord's palace. Little Naughty Dragon, quickly find that woman, Chen Shang said. Are you in a hurry to peek at her taking a shower or changing clothes or something? Long Shui teased. Let's go and see, I also like to see beautiful women naked. Little pervert, you're so much worse than me. I'm only thinking about it, but you dare to do it. Chen Shang scolded. Growth was partly because Chen Shang had become stronger, and was also because she could eat so many rare and precious spirit fruits and pills all day long. She felt that even in the heaven realm, she would not be able to eat so many things, so she did not regret her decision to follow Chen Shang at all. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but this woman did not take a bath. She seemed to be walking towards the entrance of the City Lord Palace. Long Shui asked doubtfully. Very quickly, Chen Shang saw Du Yanyao, but he did not dare move at this moment. He, who had turned into a butterfly, laid quietly on a tree. Only after Du Yanyao left the City Lord Palace did Chen Shang secretly follow her. With Long Shui following her using the Heaven Tour method, he was not worried about losing her. She quickened her pace. Is she leaving the city? Long Shui said. Just follow him and you'll know. Chen Shang turned into a bird and quickly flew away. An hour later, Chen Shang looked behind from high up in the sky. He only saw the lights of the sacred Dan city and from afar, it was actually a beautiful scene, yet he was still closely following Du Yanyao. Damn, this is my second time following this woman. Chen Shang thought. This time Du Yanniao did not use someone to pull the carriage, but walked slowly. Suddenly, Long Shui saw a person standing on top of a wasteland in front of her. It's a man, his strength is only at the early stage of the 100 refining realm, his cultivation is fire attributed innate qi, he looks like an alchemist. This female city lord really did come out to look for a man. Chen Shang also saw the man on the grassland. It was a very tall but very skinny man, with a considerably handsome appearance. He was dressed extremely well, which made people feel very comfortable. Eldest miss, it's been half a year since we last met, you look even more beautiful now. Although he called Du Yanniao young miss, but he seemed to be good friends with Du Yanniao. Du Peng, when are you going back to the city to continue being one of the 3 city lord? Gong Senliang is already dead. If I had to manage the sacred dance city by myself, I won't be able to take it. Du Yanniao's tone of voice had actually become much gentler, but it still sounded as if it was 1,000 miles away, ice cold to the bone. Eldest miss, I heard that the famous little flame immortal from the Qian family asked for your hand in marriage. Did you not accept? Du Peng asked. Cut the crap, quickly bring me to look for that purple dragon flower. Du Yanniao's face sank, and her voice became much colder than before. All right, but that place is a bit dangerous. That place is filled with poisonous miasma. I think the eldest miss should know about that poison as well. Du Peng shook his head and sighed. I did not return to the city during this past year because I wanted to expel the poison. Eldest miss, your grandfather has been missing for so many years. Don't mention my grandpa's disappearance. Du Yanniao hollered in vain as she glared at Du Peng. Are you worried that I won't be able to cure you even if I get poisoned? Du Peng immediately sweated profusely, and said, yes, the poison over there is even stronger. I only saw the purple dragon flower from afar and walked out hastily. If I was any slower, I would have died inside. Chen Shang was secretly surprised in his heart. The legendary Dan Immortal of the Du family had actually disappeared for many years, and the Du family had always kept this a secret. It was to prevent other forces from infiltrating. Of course, what made Chen Shang even more surprised was that Du Peng had actually found a purple dragon flower. It was a type of immortal medicine, a flower of the immortal grade. Looks like I don't need to waste any nature fruit. This woman's grandfather is missing, but it's still okay. I think I'll be able to get the purple dragon flower soon. Chen Shang said excitedly. That was a flower that could refine immortal pills, and he was from impenetrable. It would be as easy as flipping his palm if he wanted to enter that place. Immortal poisoning devil forest. This forest was indeed very dangerous, but it was only in this kind of place that purple dragon flower could grow. If you dare to enter deeper in, you must have some guts. However, being able to survive is a miracle. Du Yanniao said in shock. Long Shui shouted at this time. I know about this immortal poisoning devil forest, because during the primordial era, a sky poison dragon died there. Its highly toxic body melted and contaminated a large part of the forest, but because of the unique vitality contained within the body of the poison dragon, not only did those flowers and trees not die, they instead grew very well. Now, Chen Shang understood why Du Yanniao said that the purple dragon flower could only grow there. Chapter 590. In the dark night, Chen Shang looked at the place that was emitting a strange aura. He suspected that it was the immortal poisoning devil forest, and that even immortals could be poisoned to death by it. This showed how terrifying the forest was. However, Chen Shang was not afraid. He would cultivate the devil-suppressing golden body and be able to use impenetrable, but he wanted to see how Du Peng would bring Du Yanniao inside the immortal poisoning devil forest. If they really had a way to guard against poison and go into the forest, he planned to go in ahead of them and snatch the purple dragon flower away. Since it's immortal poisoning devil forest, you can still live after being poisoned. You must have eaten something to detoxify the poison, otherwise if you were to be poisoned, even the gods will not be able to save you. Du Yanniao looked straight at Du Peng, causing him to feel an inexplicable sense of oppression. Du Peng nodded his head. Young miss is indeed well informed. I have indeed consumed a type of flower, which allowed me to preserve my life. If I consume it in advance, I think I can resist the poison in the immortal poisoning devil forest for a period of time. Du Yanniao was slightly shocked, and asked, oh, what kind of flowers? Do you still have it? Quote. Du Peng laughed. That flower is outside of immortal poisoning devil forest. If the matter is extreme, it will be reversed. That flower probably absorbs poison aura all year round, which is why it has the ability to resist poison, but I am not sure if that's true, so I would like to ask young Miss to appraise it herself. Du Yanniao nodded, then followed Du Peng and flew towards the immortal poisoning devil forest. Chen Shang, who was flying in the air, also thought about whether he should continue to follow them, or snatch the purple dragon flower in front of them. I think that Du Peng brat is a bit strange. His body is a bit strange, but I can't see anything. Long Shui said. Chen Shang followed them. Along the way, Du Yanniao did not speak to Du Peng again. Early in the morning, when the sun shone onto the earth, Chen Shang saw a forest shrouded in green mist. The mist that contained extremely toxic poison rose up high in the sky, and under the illumination of the sunlight, it looked extremely eerie. Chen Shang looked at it from high up in the sky, and it looked like a green poisonous ocean, as though it was endless. It was hard to imagine how terrifying the poison in that dragon's body was. Even if it had died, the pollution caused by its flesh and blood had never disappeared. It seems that the things inside are all extremely poisonous. No matter if it's plants or demon beasts, it's very hard for people to think that there would be many strange flowers and herbs for concocting pills. Chen Shang said. Isn't that strange? That poisonous dragon is very strong, and the strange energy in its body is enough to grow a large number of strange flowers and herbs. Furthermore, it can also make these strange flowers and herbs resistant to poisons. Long Shui said. Du Yanniao followed Du Peng under a small tree. Although they were not inside the immortal poisoning devil forest, they could feel the oppressive poison aura, and both Du Yanniao and Du Peng had to drink antivenomous pills. Because this place was highly toxic, very few people would come here to die. If not for the fact that Du Yanniao knew about the purple dragon flower inside, he would not have come here. Eldest miss, this is the red flower. Why don't you check and see if it has a strong resistance to poison? Du Peng said. Du Yanniao squatted down and put on a black glove. She carefully plucked one flower and squeezed the saffron out of the water before dripping it into a jade box and mixing it with some white liquid. This flower is not poisonous, it's unbelievable. The flowers that grow outside the immortal poisoning devil forest are actually non-toxic. As Du Yanniao said that, she raised her hand and plucked the leaves of the small tree beside him, and then held them tightly in her hands. A black liquid dripped from the leaves and dripped onto the other jade box, instantly emitting traces of black qi. Chen Shang was also shocked. It was just a small tree outside the immortal poisoning devil forest, but it harbored such a terrifying poison. Du Yanniao poured the liquid inside the jade box that was dripping the saffron juice into the black jade box. In the blink of an eye, the black jade box started to change, and quickly returned to its original appearance. It really can cure poisons. Du Yanniao plucked another leaf and dripped the poison from the leaf into the jade box. Because the jade box contained the antidote, the poison did not cause the jade box to turn black this time. That red flower not only had the ability to detoxify poisons, but it also had the ability to defend against poisons. After repeated tests, Du Yanniao finally confirmed that the red flower really could defend against poison, and allowed them to safely enter the immortal poisoning devil forest. This was a major discovery, because over the years, even the immortals did not dare enter the deepest part of the flower, because the deeper they went, the stronger the poison was. If he had this strange red flower protecting him, then there was no need to be afraid. I ate it the last time. If there was anything wrong with it, I would have been poisoned to death long ago. Du Peng said as he plucked one and placed it in his mouth to chew. After that, she walked towards the immortal poisoning devil forest. Du Yanniao was relieved as she took off the red flower and swallowed it. For safety's sake, she had even plucked more. However, just as she took a few steps, her expression suddenly changed, and became extremely ugly. Chen Shang saw that her beautiful face had become as white as paper, and filled with rage. Ha ha eh, young miss, are you unable to use your true qi? Du Peng suddenly turned, his face was filled with a cunning smile, one look was enough to tell that he had done something. You Du Peng, I have treated you well in the past, and the Du family has never treated you unfairly, yet you actually dared to do such a thing. Although Du Yanniao was furious, she was still relatively calm. You're right, but who told you to be so arrogant and be so important to men? I know that no matter what, I will never be able to get you in my life, so I can only come up with this plan. Young miss, I truly love you. For the sake of getting you, I'm not afraid of anything. As Du Peng spoke, his eyes were filled with lust. Du Yanniao's expression changed yet again as a hint of redness actually surfaced on her pale face. Ha. Actually, that red flower was an incomparably lustful poisonous flower. Although it had a very strong ability to prevent and detoxify poisons, whoever ate it would have the desire to do so. If Huo burning body is not combined with a different surname, it will be burned to death by the evil fire. Young miss, let me help you treat the poison now. Du Peng laughed sinisterly, taking off his clothes as he walked. Du Yanyao had become weak, she did not even have the strength to speak, and her body was extremely hot and dry. The only thing she wanted to do now was to release all of her energy, to vent the pain of her body being bitten by thousands of insects. At this moment, her whole body felt extremely uncomfortable. All sorts of obscene things appeared in her mind, making her almost lose her normal consciousness. Moreover, she unconsciously began to take off her clothes, softly moaning one after another. Chapter 591. Du Familia's eldest miss. Ice-clear jade is a high and mighty ice mountain beauty. I never thought that she would fall into my hands today. Hee, I will sit right here and let you find me yourself. Ha. Du Peng laughed. Du Yanyao had not completely lost consciousness, and asked, why arena tu poisoned? I have already cultivated the poison Damana's body. My impenetrable is naturally not afraid of being poisoned. Dona T think that you can stall for time. If no one can save you, then serve me obediently. Young miss, you never thought that there would be such a day, right? Du Peng laughed sinisterly. I'll let you have a taste of a man soon. Come quickly, am right here, I know you need a man very much. Du Yanyao's heart was filled with extreme fury and shame. She did not think that she would actually be so hungry and thirsty like an idiot, this was something she wished for nothing more than to wipe her throat and kill herself. But right now, she was simply unable to control her own body. First miss, after I cure you, you will be one of my people, so don't even think about perishing together with me, otherwise, even if we die, I will have a way to spread today's news throughout the entire sacred Dan realm. Don't look down on me, I really did find a purple dragon flower inside, as long as I can obtain it, I can become a rich man. Du Peng said somewhat excitedly. Don't even think about it. Even if I die, I won't go with you. Du Yanyao let out another soft moan, and her body involuntarily crawled towards Du Peng. Chen Shang, who was watching from above, was extremely shocked. Of course he wouldn't have the heart to see such a beauty being sullied by Du Peng. He only felt that it wasn't time yet, so he didn't make a move. Hurry up and save her. What do we do when she commits suicide? Su Meiyao could not bear to see this. She was a woman, so she hated Du Peng for his despicable and vicious methods. If possible, she would personally make a move and make Du Peng beg for death. Chen Shang descended from the sky, landing right behind Du Peng. After transforming into his human form, he fiercely punched out at Du Peng's back. Boom! The moment Chen Shang threw out his fist, it shook the heaven and earth, the winds changed color, and the space seemed to be distorted. Rumbling sounds of true energy followed after 10 consecutive explosions, turning into an even more terrifying devil-subduing method. Lightning flashed and thunder roared, and it struck Du Peng's back as though it could split the earth. S back was struck by lightning, and he fiercely spat out a mouthful of blood. It was as if blood mist was floating in the air, and a huge hole had been punched out in the middle of his body by Chen Xiang's violent punch just now. Seeing this scene, Du Yanyao suddenly became clear-headed. Following Du Peng's fall, Chen Xiang's handsome face was imprinted into her mind. She never thought that she would see Chen Shang again, and this time, it was Chen Shang who had saved her. This time, it was Chen Shang again, which gave her hope in her despair. Who are you? Even though a large hole had appeared on Du Peng's upper body, he did not die. His face was filled with hatred, which seemed to be able to pierce through the 9 heavens, because Chen Shang had destroyed his good fortune. Ask Second City Lord. Chen Shang sneered, walked over, and threw a punch towards his body. A ball of flame exploded out, and before Du Peng died, he had suffered a burning pain and slowly died. Chen Shang used the soul-absorbing devil spell to search for the location of the purple dragon flower from Du Peng's soul. Outside the immortal poisoning devil forest, one could clearly hear Du Yanyao's hurried gasps. From time to time, she would let out a soul-snatching moan, causing Chen Shang to be unable to control himself. What are you doing? Seeing Chen Shang walking over, the thirst in Du Yanyao's heart became even stronger, because in her heart, Chen Shang was much better than Du Peng. At least, she felt that Chen Shang was very pleasing to the eye, and because of this, her modesty slowly faded. Chen Shang suddenly stopped in her tracks. This Du Yanyao looked as though she knew how to eat people. The previous coldness that was thousands of miles away was gone. All that was left was an incomparably strong desire, and her seductive charm was indeed extremely alluring to men. Don't be afraid, Ia am a good person. Chen Shang anxiously said. He was in a dilemma now, and if Du Yanyao was unable to purge the poison from his body, he would very likely die. But to detoxify the poison, he had to make a huge sacrifice. Du Yanyao did not know where she got her strength from, but with a fierce leap, she actually threw Chen Shang to the ground and tightly hugged Chen Shang, letting out a groan. Her beautiful body that was drenched in sweat squirmed on Chen Xiang's body, and her pair of beautiful eyes that were filled with a seductive and thirsty look, were filled with complex emotions. I feel so bad. Du Yanyao groaned as she kissed Chen Xiang's neck. There was only a thin layer of silk covering her chest. Chen Shang gulped down his saliva. He felt that his upright body was being grinded against Du Yanyao's lower abdomen, which was extremely dangerous for him, as doing so was impossible for him right now. He also wished that he could correct Du Yanyao on the spot and help her detoxify the poison. Sister Meiyao, is this what I want to do? Chen Shang suddenly turned around and pressed Du Yanyao, who was wrapped around her, to the ground, allowing her to struggle and moan powerlessly. Little scoundrel, you are quite calm. Su Meiyao praised from the bottom of her heart, then laughed. I had thought that you would take advantage of her situation and kill her. Do I look like that kind of person? Chen Shang said snappily. Hurry up and think of a way. If you don't detoxify her now, she's going to die. Refine the yin poison in the saffron and then use the rest to refine it into a medicinal pill for her to consume. As for how to refine it, that will depend on your experience. Better to be quick. Su Meiyao said. Chen Shang released Du Yanyao, who was pressed on the ground, then quickly picked up a few red flowers, threw them into the Yanlong furnace, released the flames, used the foreseeing alchemy, and started to burn the red flowers. Very quickly, he discovered that there was a red and white medicine aura among the red flowers, and the red part was poisonous. This red flower could be considered to be very easy to refine. However, it required a lot of effort to condense into a pill, so he could only pick a handful and throw it into the pill furnace to refine. As he was seriously refining pills, he suddenly felt a delicate body lying on top of his body. The two snow peaks behind him made him to be shocked and almost be exposed. He didn't think that this woman's body was so big that it could crawl over and entangle him. So uncomfortable. Du Yanyao lay on the back of Chen Xiang's tiger as he hugged Chen Shang with both hands. He grabbed onto Chen Xiang's chest so that his delicate body would stick closely to Chen Xiang's, and then, as he dragged her along, she wildly kissed Chen Xiang's cheeks. Miss Du, please hold it a bit longer. I will finish refining it. Chen Shang said as he gritted his teeth. At this moment, he was being pestered by a peerlessly beautiful woman who had taken aphrodisiac, so it was impossible for him to not have any thoughts, and he was restraining himself now. Du Yanyao also maintained a trace of rationality, but just because Chen Shang did not do anything to her, it made her feel extremely disappointed, and as a result, made her desire to vent even more. I can't help it, give me I feel so bad. Du Yanyao spat out an orchid beside Chen Xiang's ear. Her voice was filled with bewitchment, making people unable to stop. Chen Shang was also almost on the verge of going berserk, but his principles were extremely strong, and with the guidance of a peerless goddess like Lu Mengge and Su Meiyao, he had an extremely strong resistance in this area, so he was able to calm his heart and refine pills. This was a form of training for him. Not every alchemist would have this chance to train their strength. Chapter 592. Chen Shang was hugged from behind. Feeling the comfortable rubbing of her soft and warm body, and listening to Du Yanyao's enticing words, her enchanting moans echoed in his mind. Chen Shang had already thought of doing something to this woman countless of times in his mind, but in the end, he still endured it. Although Du Yanyao could not make love with a man, the fact that she could hug and rub her body with a man she did not hate made her more or less feel better. In the blink of an eye, an hour had passed. Chen Zhang's entire body was covered in Du Yanyao's sweat. His 2 cheeks had already been kissed by her, and a few teeth marks had already appeared on his neck. He had never thought that he would be taken advantage of by a woman like this. Little scoundrel, hold on. Don't throw away your armor at the very end. Su Meiyao said with a smile. Done. Chen Shang heaved a sigh of relief. opened the lid of the pill furnace, took out a white pill and hastily stuffed it into Du Yanyao's mouth. Then he quickly moved to the side and watched quietly. Seeing Du Yanyao suddenly stop moaning, Chen Shang heaved a sigh of relief. I'm finally all right, it's so tortuous. She had her back facing Chen Shang and was tidying up her clothes. What happened just now was still fresh in her mind and was deeply imprinted in her mind. She felt that even if she were to die, she would never forget what she had done to Chen Shang. And at this time, Chen Shang had a very lofty and positive image in her heart, a stark contrast to the Dupeng who had just attacked her. She did not expect that there was actually a man in this world who could resist the kind of enticement that she had shown just now, and even had the heart to refine pills to detoxify her poison, and had not taken advantage of her even a bit. Cough cough, it's fine now. Just pretend like nothing happened just now. I definitely won't say anything. Chen Shang felt a little awkward and said. Thank you, Du Yanyao said softly. In her memories, she had never thanked a stranger before. You're welcome. Have you recovered your true qi? Do you want me to send you back to the city? Chen Shang asked with concern. This made Du Yanyao's heart warm, and she turned around to look at him with a gaze that was gentle enough to drip water. This made Chen Shang feel like he had been electrocuted. He did not expect that a woman who was colder than Bai Yu would actually reveal such a soft and gentle appearance. You've recovered. Aren't you going back to the city? Du Yanyao lowered her head and asked shyly. Chen Shang took a deep breath. He suddenly felt that his charisma was extremely strong, to be able to change the attitude of this woman towards him. No, I still have things to do. He still had to go in and find the purple dragon flower. Are you following me? Du Yanyao raised her head. She had recovered some of her iciness and asked while staring at Chen Shang. No, Dupeng has a grudge with me. I have always been following him, looking for a chance to make my move on him. Chen Shang casually made up a lie and said. Du Yanyao also believed it to be true. When she mentioned Dupeng, her face was filled with hatred. Thank you for what you did just now. If it wasn't for you, Hee, I already said you don't have to be so polite. Chen Shang interrupted her and laughed. Are you going to look for the purple dragon flower? Du Yanyao asked with a frown. Although her voice was slightly cold, the way she looked at Chen Shang with such tender feelings made it hard for Chen Shang to bear. It's very dangerous inside. For the sake of the purple dragon flower, it's not worth it. Du Yanyao tried to dissuade her. I'm not afraid of poison. That thing is very important to me. Chen Shang smiled. Du Yanyao sighed lightly. What kind of person are you exactly? Since you have the confidence, then I can only wish you success. I will wait for you at City Lord Palace, and if you can get the purple dragon flower, please come and meet me once. Quote. Chen Shang laughed. I still have to stay in Sacred Dan City for a period of time. At that time, I will definitely go there brazenly as a guest. Du Yanyao's face revealed a sweet smile, which made Chen Shang able to see her beauty. Her smile seemed to be able to melt the world of ice and snow. I'm leaving, you be careful. Du Yanyao consecutively flew a few times, and disappeared from Chen Zhang's line of sight. Chen Shang scratched his head, sighed, and walked towards Immortal Poisoning Devil Forest. What is it? Do you regret not eating her just now? Bai Yu ridiculed. Of course not, I don't regret it. If I want a woman, she will have to follow me willingly. What did that count as? Taking advantage of others. I am not that kind of person. Chen Shang said righteously. PFF'd, little scumbag, you really know how to act. Long Shui scoffed. Hee, as expected of my little man, I like you more and more. Su Meiyao said while laughing. Her words were sincere. Ever since she and Chen Zhang's relationship had been finalized, she felt that her heart had been satisfied, and that there was no emptiness in her heart from before. This made her very happy inside the ring. Chen Shang walked into the Immortal Poisoning Devil Forest and asked, Sister Meiyao, what use does that purple dragon flower have? It has a lot of uses. It can be used to refine low-grade immortal pills, dragon yuan pills. After eating too much, it can even make people possess purple flames and condense purple fire soul, and people like you with fire soul can even evolve it. Su Meiyao said. So you're saying that this is a treasure in the eyes of the Sacred Dan realm? With this, it shouldn't be hard for me to get those immortals to do things for me, right? Chen Shang was extremely excited. Inside the Immortal Poisoning Devil Forest, there was a dense green poison mist floating around. He followed Dupeng's memories and searched for the marks inside. According to Dupung's memories, the most dangerous place in Immortal Poisoning Devil Forest was the green poisonous miasma, but there were very few goblin beasts, but he had to carefully move forward. For safety's sake, he turned into a bird and flew, this way he could avoid being suddenly attacked by some goblin beasts. At night, Chen Shang had already delved deep into the Immortal Poisoning Devil Forest. He could see from afar that there was a ball of purple light in front of him, and it looked like a pulsing light produced by purple flames. Seeing that, Chen Shang immediately flew over, and the poison aura was even denser. He guessed that even if Dupung had a poison demon body, he would not be able to handle such a poison, if not he would have already taken the purple dragon flower. Although the poison here was strong, Chen Shang was completely fine. At this moment, he saw a purple flower that was the size of a washbasin. With the flower in full bloom, it looked just like a dragon with its mouth wide open. The entire flower was burning with purple flames, which was extremely dazzling in the darkness. "That's right, this is the purple dragon flower," Su Meiyao said. After that, he transformed into a bird and flew away at his fastest speed. Not long after he flew away, he heard an earth-shaking roar that sounded like an angry lion's roar that shook the entire Immortal Poisoning Devil Forest. There are indeed demonic beasts guarding this place. So dangerous. Chen Zhang's heart still palpitated with fear. The aura just now had made him feel incomparable fear. It was definitely not an aura an ordinary demon beast could possess. Chapter 593. The place Chen Shang was in wasn't the deepest part. However, if he were to encounter such a powerful demonic beast, what could he do in the depths? Let's hurry up and go. All the demon beasts here are very powerful, maybe there are even existences on the level of immortal beasts. Long Shui urged. She was worried that some powerful people would pop out. This was because this place was not like the mortal Wu realm, it was a place of a high level like the immortal world. Chen Shang had already gotten his way, as long as he left this place earlier, although the poison did not harm him, the beasts that grew up here would definitely not be weak, especially the beasts that guarded the purple dragon flower. At dawn, he walked out of the gloomy and terrifying Immortal Poisoning Devil Forest. He knew that there were definitely many rare medicinal herbs growing inside, and from the looks of the purple dragon flower he had obtained, there was definitely quite a bit of immortal medicine inside. The sacred dance city's entrance was decorated with lanterns and decorations. The city gate was dressed very grandly, as if it was welcoming a big shot from above. After Chen Shang entered the city gate, all he saw was a long red carpet spread out on the street, reaching a luxurious building in the distance. This made him secretly surprised. In just one day, this sacred dance city had undergone such a huge change. On both sides of the red carpet stood a group of majestic and valiant warriors with large sabers at their waists. They were solemn and dignified and did not allow anyone to step on the red carpet, which made many people very unhappy, but they couldn't do anything because as long as they weren't stupid, they knew that the people who came would have a very high status. This street did not lead to the city lord's mansion, so it was obvious that the people who came to this street were not going to the sacred dance city. Du Yanyao's status was already very high, but now there was actually someone taller than her, which made Chen Shang extremely curious. As he walked on the street, he could not figure out anything, and many people were the same as him, curious about the person who was about to arrive. Previously, Du Yanyao had said that as long as he returned safely, he would pay her a visit at the city lord's mansion. Du Yanyao held a very high position in the sacred Dan realm, and was very knowledgeable, so Chen Shang had wanted to find someone like him to investigate more about this sacred Dan realm. When he arrived at the entrance of the city lord's mansion, the guards at the door did not stop him. They all received Du Yanyao's orders to allow him in. Inside city lord's mansion, Du Yanyao held a thin sword in her hand, and danced about in the courtyard. From afar, Chen Shang could see her beautiful figure. Although her sword techniques were extremely sharp and carried a killing intent, it did not affect her beauty in the slightest but also gave off a strange feeling. To be able to watch the city lord dance is truly a type of enjoyment. Chen Shang clapped his hands and laughed. What he said was the truth. When Du Yanyao saw that Chen Shang had arrived, she was elated, but she did not reveal it. She maintained her ice-cold temperament, as she did not want Chen Shang to see her emotions. Young master, I still do not know your name. Can you tell me your name? Du Yanyao kept her sword well. In her eyes, Chen Shang was very mysterious, but she was a very upright person. Especially after what happened last time, Chen Shang had a very good impression of him. This was very rare for her, because over the years, there weren't many men who could be taken seriously by her. My name is Chen Shang, why doesn't City Lord Do invite me in to have a cup of tea or something? Chen Shang smiled. She watched as Chen Shang drank the tea she brewed, and saw his satisfied expression. Only then did she heave a sigh of relief in her heart, not knowing why she was so nervous, as this was something she had never experienced before. Young Master Shen, did you get the purple dragon flower? Du Yanyao asked in a low voice. Chen Shang nodded his head. I've got it, but I'll have to ask City Lord Du to keep it a secret for me. Du Yanyao's eyes flashed with shock, and she said, "MN, don't worry. Young Master Shen helped me so much, I won't harm you." Quote. Chen Shang smiled faintly as he stared at Du Yanyao. Looking at that ice-cold and beautiful face, he couldn't help but recall the seductive attitude she had when she was poisoned. As long as Du Yanyao didn't know what Chen Shang was thinking, it was still the first time she felt this way when she saw Chen Shang staring at her like a little deer running amok. At this moment, she hated herself for being dumb, and why she was born cold and didn't know how to attract men. Du Yanyao suddenly became silent. She did not know what to say, although her face was ice cold, but her heart was very nervous and shy. Chen Shang saw Du Yanyao pursed her lips and her cold face turned slightly red. She felt that it was somewhat unbelievable and said, "City Lord Du, when I went back to the city and saw the people outside looking so solemn, who exactly was coming? I just came out from the mountains and don't really understand Sacred Dan Realm, can you tell me about it?" Quote. Du Yanyao immediately replied, "That is the chief disciple of the first level of Sacred Dan School. He is one of the 100 over grandchildren of the leader, with outstanding talent, coupled with his talent in alchemy. He has been nurtured greatly by the Sacred Dan School, and is an expert at the peak of the 100 refining realm at such a young age." The Sacred Dan realm had 18 floors, and the 18th floor was the strongest place, and although the first floor was the lowest, it was very powerful to be able to get the head of the top disciples in a large power here. No wonder. Oh right, why did so many Nirvana stages suddenly disappear? The last time he came here, he could even occasionally see one or two of them on the streets, but now, he could not see any of them. You saw the rift between the and the Devil Realm last time, right? Not only are there cracks on the first level, there are cracks on the first level as well. Now, they have sealed the crack on the first level, and the second, third, and fourth level is next to. Furthermore, the higher the level, the harder it is to seal, and it will have to defend against the devils. Therefore, the great powers in the Sacred Dan realm have called for many Nirvana stages to seal the spatial crack. Du Yanyao explained. It was the same as the situation in the Chen Martial continent back then, when many rankers were also summoned to seal the crevice. What is this fellow doing here? And he's still so high profile, is he usually like this? Chen Shang asked curiously. He suddenly wanted to go and meet such a person. After all, he was someone with a strong ability and a strong level of alchemy. Yes, that's why I hate him. Oh right, young Master Shen, you seem to be able to forge pills as well, right? I can see that your pill forging abilities aren't weak at all. In that case, you can still. As she spoke till here, Du Yanyao's face flushed red, and she blushed in front of the man. This was something she couldn't have imagined before. At that time, Chen Shang was being pestered by Du Yanyao, who was in heat. To be able to calm down and concoct pills in that kind of situation, not just anyone could have such mental fortitude. City Lord Du is also an alchemist. If we have the chance in the future, we must discuss it thoroughly. Chen Shang coughed twice, thinking of how Du Yanyao was poisoned. His heart started to waver. Chapter 594. Du Yanyao and Chen Shang couldn't help but recall what happened that day. This made the atmosphere extremely awkward, especially for Du Yanyao. That was an extremely embarrassing thing to her, and she clearly remembered her embarrassed state that day, and when she thought back to it, she really wanted to erase this memory. Young Master Shen, I'm actually very curious why you didn't do anything to me back then. Under those circumstances, I can't blame you at all. She knew that only by returning to her original self would she be able to calm her inexplicably restless heart. Otherwise, she would be extremely embarrassed in front of Chen Shang. Chen Shang did not expect Du Yanyao to ask such a question. Du Yanyao stared at her and asked, "Is it because I'm not attractive enough?" Chen Shang laughed and said, "Of course not. To be honest, I had many bad thoughts that day, but I thought about how I am a man with a family, so I endured it." Seeing Chen Shang saying that he had a family, Du Yanyao's heart suddenly throbbed with pain. It was an unspeakable pain, but she maintained her composure and said, "Young Master Shen, the Sacred Dan School is holding a sacred pill competition. Are you going to participate? Is that the young alchemist are competing on alchemy?" Quote, "Oh, when does it start? Of course I want to join." Was happy and asked anxiously. Participating in this pill refining competition would allow him to level up even faster, so if he could find the devil suppressing blood quickly, he planned to refine the earth grade low rank Dan here before going back. In a month, it will be held in Sacred Dan realm, so the head disciple of Sacred Dan school will come to participate. I'll join them when the time comes. Du Yanyao was slightly happy, because she had the chance to fight against Chen Shang. Suddenly, Chen Shang felt a strong qi approaching him, and he fell to the ground with arrogant morale, when he heard a voice, "Yanyao, I'm coming, why don't you welcome me?" Du Yanyao's face darkened, and said in a low voice, "This annoying guy is here, I'll go out and deal with him." Just as Du Yanyao stood up, a figure suddenly flashed, and Chen Shang saw a man dressed in white with disheveled hair who looked to be extremely proud and unruly appear. He coldly swept his gaze across Chen Shang, and saw that Du Yanyao had personally brewed some tea at the side. His eyes actually flashed a hint of killing intent, and he could tell that was extremely important to him, and other men were not allowed to approach Du Yanyao. "Do you still need me to pick it up?" Du Yanyao said coldly. "Yanyao, I came here this time to talk about our marriage with you, so we should set it as soon as possible," the man said, and he completely ignored Chen Shang. Du Yanyao sneered. "This time, there should be at least 10 women who came with you, yet you actually have the time to come here to discuss marriage matters." The man replied, "As long as you agree to marry me, I can make those women disappear immediately. I can never let them appear before you again. HMPH, then in the future when you meet a woman who is better than me, in order to obtain that woman, will you also promise her that you will make me disappear? Xie Donghao, don't count on me marrying you. With your attitude towards women, even if all the men in the world are dead and only you are left, I will definitely not consider you." Du Yanyao's attitude was extremely resolute. As if Xie Donghao was accustomed to Du Yanyao, he could tell that it wasn't the first time Du Yanyao had rejected him in such a manner. He let out a long sigh, then looked towards Chen Shang. "I don't know who you are, but if you don't want to be my enemy, you'd better stay far away from Yanyao. Xie Donghao, don't threaten my friend." This made Xie Donghao hate Chen Shang even more, because he understood Du Yanyao extremely well. He knew that there were not many people who could be considered Du Yanyao's friend. Xie Donghao did not take Du Yanyao's words to heart, he continued to threaten Chen Shang and said, "You better be tactful, otherwise you will become the enemy of the entire Sacred Dance School. If you do not disappear from the Sacred Dance City within an hour, you better wait and see." Just as she was about to speak up, Chen Shang said with a cold smile, "You can only bring out Sacred Dance School to threaten someone else. Without Sacred Dance School, without your grandfather and father, you are just a fart. But in my eyes, it's just a little bit better than farts." Quote. Xie Donghao was startled, he never thought that there would be someone who would dare speak to him like that. His brows knitted slightly, as he was trying to guess Chen Zhang's identity, but he did not have a clue. Seeing Chen Shang fighting against Xie Donghao so recklessly, when Du Yanyao was worried about him, he couldn't help but admire Chen Zhang's boldness. In Sacred Dan City, there were also a few people more talented than Xie Donghao, but in front of Xie Donghao, they could only be meek. "You have guts. I hope your ability can take responsibility for the things you've said to me," Xie Donghao said angrily, his voice carried killing intent as he left in large strides. "I'm sorry to have caused you trouble. Don't worry, I will take care of it," Du Yanyao said with a face full of guilt. "It's not your fault. My words have truly angered him." Chen Shang laughed, and did not mind it in the slightest. "Young Master Shen, you must not underestimate him. In order to achieve his goal, he must not hesitate to do anything." Du Yanyao said, "I have always hated him, but I can't do anything to him. Furthermore, he keeps pestering me to marry him." Du Yanyao frowned, you could see that she was worried about something. "City Lord Du, call me Yanyao, we are already friends," Du Yanyao said softly. Chen Shang laughed. "Yanyao, there is something I want to ask you, has your grandfather disappeared?" Du Yanyao's body trembled as she nodded her head, "He's been missing for a long time. Our entire Du family has been searching for him for many years, but there isn't a single trace of him. Also, Sacred Dance School already knows about this matter. Without my grandfather, our Du family's strength would have been greatly reduced. Sacred Dance School has always been eyeing our Du family, wanting to annex us. I'm worried that Sacred Dance School will forcefully arrange for my marriage with Xie Donghao at that time." Quote. Du Yanyao was worried about this. Although she was a city lord of the sacred Dan city, her strength was limited. Did you leave any clues behind when your grandfather left? Looks like I have to find your grandfather first. I have some things that I would like to ask him. Chen Shang asked. There are clues, but we don't know what they are. When grandfather went missing, he said that he would go to the most dangerous place in sacred Dan realm and that there would be remnants of the devil-suppressing heavenly venerable there. Quote. In the remnants of the devil-suppressing heavenly venerable, Chen Zhang's heart fiercely jumped. Where is the most dangerous place in sacred Dan realm? Chen Shang quickly thought of the immortal poisoning devil forest, and Du Yanniao immediately gave him the answer. The most dangerous place in the sacred Dan realm is the immortal poisoning devil forest. Grandfather is a Dan immortal, and as long as there's a way to go deeper in, only a small number of people in the sacred Dan realm would dare to go in. Chapter 595. Chen Shang never thought that he would find the clues of the devil-suppressing blood so quickly. Chen Shang never thought that he would find the clues of the devil-suppressing blood so quickly. Have you heard about the devil-suppressing heavenly venerable's remains? Chen Shang calmed his agitated heart. He asked. No, no one has ever heard of him, we only know about the matters of the devil-suppressing heavenly venerable. He had come to the sacred Dan realm many years ago, and no one knew what he would do at that time. Du Yanniao shook her head. Seeing that Chen Shang was so interested in the ruins of the devil-suppressing heavenly venerable, Du Yanniao became even more curious about Chen Zhang's origins, but she did not ask any further. Young Master Shen, do you really have a wife? She's very good, isn't she? Du Yanniao's voice was somewhat low. Chen Shang sighed in his heart, scratched his head and said, actually, I am also not a good person. So far, there is only one woman who is famous with me, in addition and 2 lovers. Quote. Du Yanniao sighed. It's normal for a strong man to have more women by his side. My mother is my father's 18th woman. If you don't talk about this, I will think of a way to go into the depths of immortal poisoning devil forest and find your grandfather. At that time, you won't have to marry that bastard. Chen Shang smiled. No need, I'll just hide when the time comes. You can't go in there and take the risk, who knows if my grandpa is really inside. Du Yanniao shook her head. Chen Shang did not want to talk about it anymore, he was determined to go. There were devil-suppressing blood inside, he had to go in and take a look no matter what. Right, is there any reward for the competition of the Saint Pill Assembly? Chen Shang asked. Of course there are, that is the mysterious reward provided by the Sacred Dan School, it will be announced during the conference. This conference happens once every 100 years, and there are a lot of alchemists participating, so the reward will definitely not be too bad. A rare sweet smile appeared on Du Yanniao's face once again. Young Master Shen, don't ever think of obtaining that reward, you have to win against me. Following that, Chen Shang asked many questions about the sacred Dan realm, and Du Yanniao patiently answered them all. In the end, she even discussed some alchemy experiences with Chen Shang, which benefited both of them. As the sky darkened, Du Yanniao said, you can stay in the city lord's mansion. If that's the case, Xie Donghao still won't dare to act recklessly here. Just like this, Chen Shang stayed in the city lord's mansion. Du Yanniao knew that Chen Shang was an alchemist, so she provided him with an extremely secluded, secret room. Chen Shang was deep down in her stone room. Just as she came out from her shower, she saw Su Meiyao lying on her stone bed, wearing a thin layer of white silk clothing, everything inside was faintly discernible, and she was actually wearing something inside. Worse still, this peerless beauty was still maintaining a coquettish and flirtatious attitude, her eyes were like silk, her small mouth was slightly opened, and her charming smile made Chen Shang feel like her soul had left her body. Sister Meiyao, don't you play with fire. Chen Shang took a deep breath and walked over. Elder sister, I just want to see how much charm you have when comparing with that Yanniao. I also want to test your mental fortitude. Su Meiyao smiled flirtatiously. Chen Shang walked onto the stone bed and held Su Meiyao down, then smiled sinisterly, you are my wife, what mental fortitude do I need? Even if I eat you, I won't feel that it's not enough. Quote. As he spoke, he gently rubbed one of Su Meiyao's snow breasts across the thin and transparent silk dress. Little scoundrel, I was only worried that you'd be bored to death, so I gave you a taste, don't be too excessive. My body is very weak right now, and I can't take your pain. Su Meiyao said intimately. That kind of voice caused Chen Zhang's bones to go numb, and with a flip of his body, Su Meiyao laid on top of him. Sister Meiyao is so considerate. As Chen Shang spoke, he moved his lips closer to her and passionately kissed her. A pair of large hands were moving around her flawless body, stroking it through the thin layer of cloth, giving him a different feeling. After the passion passed, Chen Shang hugged the beauty and fell asleep. Su Meiyao also laid in his embrace, listening to the heartbeat of her little man. On the second day, Chen Shang greeted Du Yanyao and said that he would be cultivating pellets in seclusion, and was preparing to participate in the convention. After that, he hurriedly returned to the basement, took out his Yanlong furnace, and began refining pills. The Profoundiang fire dan he was refining now, he wanted to be more familiar with it. The last time he succeeded was all because of the competition, and under those circumstances, it was normal for him to be able to excel in it. When he familiarized himself with refining Profoundiang fire dan, he would then be able to start refining other high-grade profound level pills. As long as he mastered 3 of them, he would be able to basically refine pills of the same level. Now that he had clues about the devil suppressing blood, he was not that nervous. He was just considering whether or not he should go into the immortal poisoning devil forest now to find Du Yanyao's grandfather. We will be leaving after refining 2 more batches of Profoundiang fire dan. Hopefully, we will be able to rush back to participate in the sacred pill assembly. Chen Shang was concocting pills in the secret room, but at this time, there were many people in the sacred Dan city who were inquiring about him. They wanted to know where he came from, but to no avail. Du Yanyao had already helped Chen Shang to register to participate in the sacred pill assembly. Although she would be competing with Chen Shang later on, she was filled with anticipation. He had already successfully refined 5 batches of Profoundiang fire dan. Although he failed 3 times, it allowed him to have a better grasp of the refining process of Profoundiang fire dan. It was night, and Chen Shang was standing outside Du Yanyao's door. After Du Yanyao opened it, he hurriedly said, "Yanyao, I have something to do, so I need to leave for a bit. If I don't return in time to participate in the pill assembly's pill refining competition, then you don't need to wait for me." Du Yanyao did not ask further, she only sighed lightly and nodded, "Be careful." Chen Shang smiled at him, then quickly left. He turned into a black butterfly in a place no one saw him in the city lord's mansion, and flew out of the city lord's mansion in the night. At the entrance of the city lord's mansion, he could see a few people in charge of following him. Not long after, he left the sacred Dan city. What made him extremely shocked was that around the city lord's mansion, there were actually many people watching. He felt that they were definitely the people Xie Donghao sent. Back then, when he was opposing Xie Donghao had already treated him like a dead person. Once he found the opportunity, he would definitely not let Chen Shang go, especially when he thought about how Du Yanyao would look at him with such tender eyes. He felt so jealous that he could bleed in his heart. "Did you find out where he came from?" Xie Donghao asked. "We only found out that he killed second city lord and a few of his followers inside the city lord's mansion. Furthermore, his attacks were very fierce, and he shouldn't be weak. How long has it been since we couldn't even find his name?" An old man said. Chapter 596. Outside the immortal poisoning devil forest. Chen Shang stood there and looked at the deep forest that was filled with green poisonous miasma. This forest was very big, and no one knew what dangers were present in the deepest part of the forest. Where should I start looking? This place is so big. Chen Shang didn't have a clue. He only thought that Du Yanyao's grandfather might be inside, and he couldn't be sure if the devil suppressing blood was actually inside. "Let's go in first, we'll talk later." "Let's go in first," Su Meiyao said. Chen Shang turned into a bird and flew in the deep forest. This would make him very safe, unless he met some powerful demon beasts that specialized in killing birds. This time when he entered, he tried to stay as far away as possible from the place where the purple dragon flower appeared. There was a powerful fellow there, and he was definitely angry at this moment. On the way, when Chen Shang entered the depths of Immortal poisoning devil forest, he encountered many powerful poisons, most of them were insects. However, his flying speed was extremely fast, so even if those poisons found him, he could dodge. After flying for a day and a half, he reached a deeper place, and the poison inside was even stronger. Now, he understood even more. The name Immortal poisoning devil forest was not fake. Even if he was an immortal, without proper protection, he would definitely be poisoned to death if he entered. When did the poison dragon die? If devil-suppressing heavenly Venerable had wanted to hide things back then, this place would have been the best place to do so. Moreover, he cultivates the devil-suppressing Kung Fu, so it is naturally impenetrable as well. Chen Shang said. This made him even more certain that the remnants of the devil-suppressing heavenly Venerable were truly here. The devil-suppressing mirror seemed to have moved. Chen Shang was startled. He anxiously turned into his human form and took out the devil-suppressing mirror, only to see the mirror trembling. When he was at martial contest of the king, he had entered the evil demon and obtained the devil-suppressing mirror. At that time, he had witnessed the power of this mirror, especially when dealing with demons. It gave him fatal injuries. It allowed him to instantly kill demons above his level, as if it was a natural divine tool to slay demons. Could it be that the devil-suppressing mirror is going to guide me? Chen Shang turned his body, and when he turned around, the devil-suppressing mirror's mirror suddenly lit up, shining with a gentle golden light. Chen Shang was ecstatic. He kept his treasure mirror and transformed into a bird that quickly flew over. Is there any other use for the devil-suppressing mirror that I haven't discovered? He actually had this kind of perception that could transcend space. When I have time, I have to find out what it is all about. Quote. When Chen Shang first obtained this devil-suppressing mirror, although he obtained detailed information about this treasure mirror, it seemed like this mirror still had a lot of unknown uses. When a refiner refined a piece of magical equipment, he would usually place a small piece of information on it. When the magical equipment recognized the equipment as its master, he would transmit this message to the person who created it, allowing him to quickly grasp the information on the magical equipment. There's someone here, Long Shui shouted in shock. This man is coming. He is fast. As his voice fell, Chen Shang felt a strong wave of energy rush over. An old man with white hair ran over from afar. His skinny hands crazily waved as waves after waves of sharp palm winds shot out explosively, bringing along a violent force that engulfed a large portion of the deep forest. That wave of energy charged over, and like harvesting straw, broke the majority of the energy waves. Initially, Chen Shang was still surprised that he was discovered, but later he realized that the old man's target was not him, but a man dressed in beast skins. This man's speed was unexpectedly also very fast. If not for Long Shui's reminder, he probably wouldn't have been able to catch this man. They're gone, they're really fast. Chen Shang heaved a sigh of relief. Could that old man be Du Yanyao's grandfather? It's quite possible that he might be able to catch up with us. However, that old man's strength has not reached the immortal realm. Su Meiyao said. Who was Chen Shang that was blown away by the storm of energy just now? However, Long Shui was following them with her consciousness, so he could follow these two people. That old man is very strong, but when he attacked earlier, he did not use his full strength. He wanted to capture that man alive. Long Shui said. Chen Shang had transformed into a bird right now, and his speed was not slow either, but he was still thrown far by the two people. It's simply impossible to catch up. Have you found anything? Along the way, Chen Shang saw many gigantic trees that were cut down by energy waves that were like sharp swords. Their speed has slowed down, and the old man's power seems to be weakening as well. The energy waves he released are weakening as well. Long Shui said, which made her a little suspicious. In her opinion, the two of them had the same amount of strength, so it was impossible for them to run slower and slower. Chen Shang followed them for the majority of the day. Along the way, he carefully observed the traces left behind by the old man and the man, and noticed that their speed was decreasing, and the old man's attack was also becoming weaker. At night, Chen Shang chased after them for an entire day and night without rest, and the two people were like that as well. As the two people's strength gradually weakened, he had already closed the distance between them, so if he continued, he could see those two people. They might have been poisoned, so their bodies only contained a bit of power. However, it was slightly restricted. Perhaps that old man is truly that ice beauty's grandfather. Su Meiyao said. Only this immortal poisoning devil forest would have this kind of poison, and if a Dan immortal was tricked, then who is the man he was chasing after? It can actually resist this poison. Quote. Because Chen Shang had the devil-suppressing golden body and the 72 changes, he was able to safely enter such a deep place. If it was anyone else, they would have to be very strong to enter. During the chase, Chen Shang observed the devil-suppressing mirror and discovered that it was still moving. It was just that he was not holding it in his hand, and did not know where his target would be. If I knew earlier, I would have asked Du Yanyao for a portrait of her grandfather. Chen Shang saw the back of the old man. Their speed was slower, the old man's attack was weaker, but they were not tired at all. Suddenly, the old man roared, "Bastard, I'll definitely catch you." Old man, you've been saying these words for so many years, ha ha. He heard the man's loud laughter, but the old man suddenly stopped and sat down on the spot. Chen Shang, who was far away, transformed into a human and anxiously took out his devil-suppressing mirror. Aiming at the place where the man had disappeared, the devil-suppressing mirror suddenly flickered. Strange, why would the devil-suppressing mirror be able to track a person? Chen Shang was extremely suspicious. If it was locating an object, then living in it was a place. It was normal, because it could have been said a long time ago, but now, it was a person who could move. Who's there? The old man shouted in a low voice, and a sharp aura attacked him. Chapter 597, Chen Shang was shocked. He anxiously replied, I'm Yanyao's friend. Chen Shang was shocked. He anxiously replied, I'm Yanyao's friend. When the old man heard this, he suddenly jumped over and instantly appeared in front of Chen Shang. With one hand holding Chen Zhang's collar, he stared at him with his bloody hawk eyes. Who exactly are you? Senior, I said that I'm Yanyao's friend. Chen Shang looked at the old man's anxious expression and said sincerely, I have no ill intentions. If there's anything you want to say, you can say it. After the old man realized that Chen Zhang's strength was not enough to threaten his life, he put Chen Shang down. Are you really Yanyao's grandfather? Chen Shang asked. That's right, I am Du Hai. Are you really her friend? I really didn't know that she had such a powerful friend like you, who could actually come to the depths of a mortal poisoning devil forest unscathed, and how long she could follow me for without making a sound. Du Hai carefully sized Chen Shang up. His eyes that were as sharp as an eagle's eyes, seemed to want to see through him. Chen Shang smiled and asked, Senior, how long has it been since you last saw her? 50 years. But I don't know which family's kid could become so powerful in 50 years, and I know all about the people who are chasing after her. Du Hai was still on his guard against Chen Shang. Although he was talking to Chen Shang, he treated Chen Shang as his enemy. Seeing that Du Hai was being so cautious, Chen Shang said, Senior, you should know that you have been missing for so many years, right? Now, it seems that Sacred Dance School knows that you are no longer Du family. If they were to confirm it, you would know what the holy elixir would do without my words, right? Quote. Du Hai frowned. They are making their move on Du family now. As long as they don't confirm that I'm dead, they definitely won't dare to act recklessly towards Du family. They definitely won't dare to gamble the life and death of the entire Sacred Dance School. You have to be clear that I am a Dan Immortal. The moment I open my mouth, a bunch of idiots will help me get rid of my Sacred Dance School. I have never been worried about this trivial matter. Quote. The Dan Immortal could refine immortal pills, but many strong warriors needed high-level pills, because it represented their future. Some warriors had more problems the higher their cultivation, and sometimes, they would just stay stagnant, and if they could not break through, even the immortals would die. The only people who could save them were the Dan Immortals, especially those immortals. They had successfully passed through the Nirvana doom, so they did not want to die, but pills could help them break through, and increase their lifespan. Chen Shang now understood why this Dan Immortal could go missing without any worries. He was indeed not afraid. Many experts definitely owed him a favor, and at that time, even if he did not say anything, they would all help Du family. Even though he said that, the Sacred Dance School can still use this time to play some tricks. According to what I know, one of Sacred Dance School's sons is trying to find a way to marry Yanyao off to him. Chen Shang said. This caused Du Hai to be instantly enraged and roar, if he dares, as long as I go back, I will definitely castrate all of that old fellow's sons. If he dares to touch my granddaughter, I will definitely let them understand that there is something even more terrifying than death. The corner of Chen Zhang's mouth twitched slightly. Now he knew why Du Yanyao was such a woman, more or less the same as Leng Yulin, who had a violent father who fought on the battlefield throughout the year. Yet Du Yanyao had such a grandfather, and he had been affected by it since he was young. Kid, it was Yanyao who told you where I was. There are no more than 5 people who could possibly know about the most dangerous place in my Sacred Dan realm and the place where we could search for the remnants of the devil-suppressing heavenly Venerable. Du Hai looked at Chen Shang with a strict expression. He understood his own granddaughter very well. A man who could get so much information from Du Yanyao's mouth must have obtained Du Yanyao's trust. I'm her friend. I saved her once, but we don't have anything to do with each other. Besides, I already have a wife. Chen Shang hurriedly explained. He was worried that this reckless old man, who loved Sun Ruming, would misunderstand him. HMPH, why aren't you poisoned? Even I can only barely defend against this poison. Du Hai stared at him and asked. Now, Chen Shang understood why Du Hai ran slower and slower, and why his strength was getting weaker and weaker. It turned out that he had used a large portion of his power to defend his body against the poison. If I told you about my impenetrable, would you believe me? Chen Shang shrugged and said. If that's really the case, then either you cultivate the poison demon's body or you have successfully cultivated the devil-suppressing golden body. From the pure aura that you emit, you should be the latter. I didn't think that there would actually be someone who could cultivate the devil-suppressing golden body. Although Du Hai's expression was calm, his heart was filled with shock. He knew about the remnants of the devil-suppressing heavenly venerable, and naturally knew how difficult it was to cultivate the devil-suppressing Kung Fu. Chen Shang exclaimed, Senior is indeed knowledgeable. I just stumbled upon a stone tablet by luck and spent a long time memorizing the mental cultivation method written on it. After that, I succeeded in my cultivation and the words on the stone tablet also disappeared. Quote. In order to get Du Hai's good impression of him, Chen Shang could only reveal some things that interested him, so that he could let his guard down. As expected, Du Hai fell into a short period of contemplation, and then said, That's a devil-suppressing monument. I have seen this thing before. I remember the things on it very clearly, but I didn't learn it. It didn't appear as you described. Chen Shang frowned. That's strange. Could it be that because Senior was too strong back then, and was therefore useless? Or is there the spirit left behind by the devil-suppressing heavenly venerable inside the monument, allowing you to choose the person he approves of? Quote. Du Hai sighed slightly, it's possible. Devil-suppressing heavenly venerable is a genius, the person that the demons fear the most. Chen Shang said. Senior, honestly, I came here to help Yanyao find you, and also to find the remnants of the devil-suppressing heavenly venerable. I found the remains of the devil-suppressing heavenly venerable. It was a box, but this box was swallowed by an immortal beast. I chased that immortal beast for 45 years and couldn't solve it, but I know that I can exterminate it very soon. Du Hai looked at Chen Shang and smiled slightly. Seeing Du Hai's smile, Chen Shang felt goosebumps all over his body. Du Hai actually wanted him to deal with the immortal beast. He finally understood who the man Du Hai chased after was. It was that immortal beast. Don't worry, that fellow is also afraid of poison, so just like me, he uses up a lot of energy to resist the poison's invasion into his body, and when he runs, the consumption is even greater. The next time I see him, I plan to waste even more time with him. I trust you, I hope I'm not mistaken. Du Hai said. In order to survive in the immortal poisoning devil forest, every time Du Hai was in pursuit, he would try his best to conserve a portion of his energy so that he could have the power to escape. Chapter 598. Chen Shang came for the devil-suppressing blood. He had to explain this matter clearly, otherwise, Du Hai would fight with him for the devil-suppressing blood. He could not defeat this kind of immortal. Senior, I have spoken frankly. I am not a person from this world. Chen Shang thought about it carefully and said. Du Hai, who was sitting on the ground and recovering his innate qi, opened his eyes and said lightly, I know, I have been in the sacred Dan realm for a long time, of course I can see it. I came here to look for the devil-suppressing blood. I don't know what will happen to the devil-suppressing blood after I obtain it. In short, this is my goal. Chen Shang said. If the beast has swallowed it, you can take it then. I will respect the choice of the devil-suppressing heavenly venerable. You do not have to worry, but you have to compensate me. After all, I have spent many years trying to obtain it. Du Hai said. Chen Shang thought that it was indeed difficult for Du Hai to stay in this damned place for so many years. Purple dragon flower, I will use this to compensate you, is that enough? Du Hai suddenly opened his eyes, and asked with an expression of disbelief, You're from heaven realm? Chen Shang laughed, No, I am from the mortal world. How interesting, a little kid from the mortal world really has quite the skill. Did you find the purple flame dragon fruit from here? I found it in the immortal poisoning devil forest. Chen Shang nodded. When I recover, I will go find that beast. That guy doesn't dare leave immortal poisoning devil forest, otherwise, he will definitely not hunt. Du Hai laughed coldly. Who asked him to be a dragon that evolved from a python? This kind of dragon that doesn't look cheap is a target for many old fellows to kill. Long Shui snorted. No wonder there's such a familiar qi. This guy must have used a forbidden technique of the dragon clan to become so human. What forbidden technique? Su Meiyao asked. They only eat children from 1 to 5 years old. Long Shui said angrily. I must kill this guy, otherwise, no matter what, I must think of a way to contact the Imperial Dragon race and make them take care of this bastard. Chen Shang was also filled with anger. He could imagine that the snake must have eaten quite a few children in order to evolve into a dragon. Kid, what's your name? Du Hai asked. Chen Shang. Did Yanyao know you were looking for me? Chen Shang shook his head. I don't know, I didn't tell her. Du Hai could not help but let out a light sigh, as if he had guessed Du Yanyao's feelings towards him. You are an alchemist, and your pill refining skills are definitely not low. It's rare even in Sacred Dan realm to have such a powerful fire soul. If that shitty fire divine palace in the immortal world were to know that you have such a powerful fire soul, you would definitely be in deep trouble. Du Hai closed his eyes and said indifferently. Chen Shang was shocked and he laughed. I'm not afraid of fire divine palace. I've been fighting against him for a long time. Not only that, what you want to obtain right now is something that those old fellows in devil-suppressing divine palace are yearning for day and night. Although you managed to cultivate to the devil-suppressing Kung Fu, and initially it was because you became the owner of the devil-suppressing divine palace, those old fellows in devil-suppressing divine palace would definitely not be willing to give you such a huge power. If you were able to find out about the devil-suppressing blood, I think you also found out about it from the devil-suppressing divine palace. According to what I know, 100 years ago, there was an old man from the devil-suppressing divine palace that contacted the Sacred Dan realm to find the devil-suppressing blood. Quote. This Du Hai was amazing, he actually knew so many things. Chen Shang was glad that he did not brag in front of him, otherwise, he would definitely be exposed. If I remember correctly, the Sacred Pill Assembly will soon begin. Since you are the alchemist, aren't you going to participate in the alchemy competition? If you are an outstanding alchemist, I believe you should know that this competition is also a way to break through. Quote. Chen Shang said. Yanyao has already helped me register, and right now, it's going to start in less than a month. I'll do my best to hurry back to participate. You don't have time, it's not easy to find that beast. This time, I've been looking for him for 3 years. Du Hai sighed. I'll be able to find him in 3 days. Do you believe me? Chen Shang rolled his eyes and said with a smirk. I don't believe it. Even though Du Hai was aware that Chen Shang was a rare genius, he was still very certain about this matter. It took me 2 years and 8 months to find him at least, and his concealment methods were extremely high. I have followed him for over 40 years and I know him very well, but it was still difficult to find him easily. Want to take a gamble? Chen Shang yawned, and said indifferently. This Du Hai was a Dan immortal, he was definitely rich, and had precious immortal medicines in his hands. What are you going to bet with me? Du Hai said with disdain. There are not many people in the Sacred Dan realm that I can deal with. Although my strength is not the strongest in the Sacred Dan realm, but as for financial resources a purple dragon flower, is that enough? Chen Shang smiled faintly. Enough is enough, but isn't this enough compensation for me? Although I am not sure what is inside the box right now, but if you really want to get that devil-suppressing blood, you have to fulfill your promise. Du Hai frowned. There were quite a few creation divine liquid in Chen Zhang's hands, and in the medicinal garden inside his ring, there were 3 flowers that looked like they were burning with purple flames. These were all flowers that Su Meiyao had created with creation divine liquid. Did I say I only have 1 purple dragon flower? Chen Zhang's eyes were filled with provocation. Senior, you don't dare to bet anymore. Du Hai suddenly laughed out loud. What an arrogant brat. Even the strongest old fellows in the Sacred Dan realm would not dare to provoke me like this. As long as you use the purple dragon flower I will also use the same thing. Quote. Longevity fruit, you should know the value of this thing. This is something that can make those old things fight over it. Chen Shang nodded his head in satisfaction. After I eat it, I can live for 10,000 years. That's right, but you need to eat an entire longevity fruit to have 10,000 years of lifespan, but if you know how to refine pills, you can turn a longevity fruit into 2 myriad life pills, and the value will double. This was a celestial fruit. If they were to sell it in the mortal Wu realm, it would definitely cause many old fellows to go bankrupt, and they would go all out to obtain it. I'll take you to that guy in 3 days. Chen Shang smiled. That's right, if we slaughter that dragon, would we be splitting up his corpse like this? This is worth it. Quote. Choose your dragon pearl and dragon corpse, choose one each. Du Hai slightly narrowed his eyes. Brat, you really aren't someone who can easily be taught like this. My guess is that you are at least an immortal. Chen Shang at least smiled. Su Meiyao and Bai Yu, The two mysterious exceptional beauties were his instructors, and, the old cunning fox and Long Shui, the little vixen. Chapter 599. I choose the Dragon Pearl. This was what Long Shui had asked Chen Shang to choose from. This was because the Dragon Pearl not only contained the life force of a dragon, but also the dragon soul. To Chen Shang, it was far more precious than the dragon corpse. Du Hai no longer chatted with Chen Shang, he had quietly recovered the energy that he had expended previously. What surprised Chen Shang the most was that Du Hai actually had a way to absorb a very pure energy from the thick poisonous miasma. It's immortal qi. Immortal qi is everywhere in sacred Dan realm, and he's an immortal. He can easily absorb that kind of energy. Su Meiyao said. After only 6 hours, Du Hai had completely recovered. At the moment, he was brimming with energy, and his entire body was releasing a very threatening qi. This level of qi, Chen Shang only felt it the last time he met Bai Yuyu's elder sister, Bai Ziqian. Bai Ziqian was very strong, but he felt that Du Hai was not inferior to her at all. Kid, you can start now. From now on, you must find that beast within 3 days. Otherwise, you will lose. Du Hai said very seriously. Chen Shang gave a bland laugh as he took out the devil-suppressing mirror and started to spin on the spot. Only when the devil-suppressing mirror started to emit a soft golden light did he stop spinning. Du Hai saw that the treasure mirror in Chen Zhang's hand was not an ordinary item, it was just that he could not see its origin and specific uses. He furrowed his brows as he thought about it, because the energy released from the mirror made him feel that it was very familiar. Over here, the devil-suppressing mirror could feel that the devil-suppressing heavenly Venerable had left something behind, but that thing had already been devoured by the dragon, so it only needed to look for the dragon through the treasure mirror. That was why he was so confident, he only needed to hurry and find the dragon within 3 days. Senior, my speed is not as fast as yours. Just as he said this, he felt his arm being grabbed by a powerful hand. Following that was a strong gust of wind blowing towards him, causing him to have difficulty breathing. Moreover, there was also a wave of pressure that made him very uncomfortable. Du Hai grabbed Chen Shang and started to run, but it did not affect his speed. Chen Shang was simply unable to see the things on both sides, because his speed was too fast. Just at this moment, Du Hai yelled out, "Kid, you've won, remember our plan, I will use up all of his energy and then let you deal with him. You should be able to keep up with us, so I won't bring you along." Du Hai put down Chen Shang, and in the blink of an eye, he disappeared. Chen Shang was relieved of a great burden as he panted heavily, because if Du Hai carried him for another day or two, he would become an ice-cold corpse. This guy is too strong. Sister Yu, I feel that he is much stronger than your poisonous sister. Chen Shang said while panting with a face full of lingering fear. He did not want to experience that kind of experience a second time. Hard to say, it should be at that level. Bai Yu said. Chen Shang rested for a moment, then turned into a bird and chased after her. I'm going to deal with a dragon. This seems to be the first time I'm going to do this. Chen Shang was a little nervous at this moment. Although the power of the dragon would be greatly depleted when the time came, he was still worried. After all, it was a dragon. HMPH, the first dragon you took on was me, and it was even the supreme imperial dragon race. Long Shui scoffed. The first time she saw Chen Shang had already set his sights on her. Alright, this is the first time I'm going to fight a real dragon. Chen Shang did not know what would happen next, but he had already started to simulate all kinds of possible battles in his mind. This was something that Huang Jintian had trained him many times before. What's there to be afraid of? If not, there's still me. You have learned so many kill dragon arts, it's finally going to be of use. Long Shui said excitedly, I really look forward to see what kind of expression that guy will have when he gets defeated by you. That means I can be considered half a master to you, hee. Quote. Thinking that he could very quickly test out the kill dragon art on a dragon, Chen Shang also couldn't wait. This was a very rare opportunity. After all, there weren't many dragons that could have the same strength as him, and they could even slaughter each other. This showed that Du Hai's speed was slowly decreasing. As long as Du Hai kept chasing after the dragon, that dragon would also consume a large amount of energy, just like himself. Even if you do not have any true qi, it would be very difficult to deal with it. Du Hai must be aware of this, so he will definitely exhaust all of the dragon's true qi, leaving a small amount to defend against the poison aura. At that time, Du Hai will have already used up all of it, but at that time, Du Hai can stop to recover. Su Meiyao said, because this was the first time Chen Shang had competed against a dragon that could take human form. Furthermore, it was a dragon whose strength was similar to a Dan Immortal. If you can't do it, you must speak up and ask Shui Yi to help you. Bai Yu urged. 5 days had passed and Chen Shang had already returned to his human form. Running on the ground, he followed behind Du Hai and the dragon. While they were running at a high speed, their bodies would bump into the poisonous miasma, so the poisonous miasma's penetrative abilities were much stronger. In order to prevent themselves from getting poisoned, they needed to release more energy to defend themselves from the poisonous miasma. Old man, where did you find this brat? Do you think he can deal with me? This little demon that isn't even in nirvana stage is not even enough to fill the gaps in my teeth. You're basically sending him to his death. The dragon quickly saw through Du Hai and Chen Zhang's plans. Hee, don't look down on humans. The only reason I can find you so quickly is because of the path this kid is pointing to. Du Hai laughed out loud. Although he had lost a longevity fruit because of this, he was extremely excited because Chen Zhang's strength was not close to that of the nirvana stage, and even if that dragon did not have any power, it was not something that Chen Shang could handle with just its body. However, Du Hai was extremely confident in Chen Shang right now, and he knew that he would definitely not see the wrong person. Young man, you have to be prepared. Although this beast is in human form now, if you force him into a corner, he will turn into his real body. He will not be easy to deal with then. Du Hai said. Senior, I was prepared a long time ago. I really want to teach this fellow that looks down on humans a lesson. Chen Shang said excitedly. Human brat, it's fine if you don't understand our dragon. You are ignorant, but if you say such arrogant words, you will die miserably. The dragon was also confused as to why Chen Shang was able to walk so freely within the cave, as he did not need to worry about the poisonous miasma at all. Chen Shang felt that it was extremely funny. It could be said that he understood dragons very well, because he only had an emperor dragon with him. Chapter 600. Now that Chen Shang and the Devil Subduing College were even, but he still wanted to stay in the Devil Subduing College, he wanted to see what kind of powerful martial arts the Devil Subduing College had. Chen Shang had come over once during this period and his attitude was very good. He had even allowed Chen Shang to continue staying in the Devil Subduing College as a student, clearly intending to rope Chen Shang in. Man Futian came down from the heaven realm, but he had only passed through the 8 tribulations of the nirvana realm. Although he had brought a lot of resources down from there, it was inevitable that he would need other things in the future. He knew that Chen Shang knew Hua Shangyu, and that was one of the few alchemists. Very quickly, all of Devil Subduing College's bounties on Chen Shang were revoked, and they even announced that they had severely punished Chen Shang, saying that he had changed his life and was brave enough to admit his wrongs. However, Chen Shang was still in the Devil Subduing College in the future, which made many young people who were fighting for victory extremely excited. This was because in this way, he would have the chance to compete with Chen Shang, and as long as he defeated Chen Shang, they would be able to become famous in the world. So boring. After so long, the egg still hasn't moved at all. Leng Yulin pouted her lips and stretched lazily. She came out of the room, but the moment she saw Chen Shang, she immediately pounced on him and pulled his hand, waving gently asking Chen Shang to bring her out for a walk. Shui Shenxian shook her head and laughed. Yulan, you have to be patient. Didn't you say you want to become a female warrior whose name shook the world while riding on a flame dragon eagle? Leng Yulin pouted her long, beautiful white hair, and upon seeing Chen Zhang's disdainful smile, she stomped her feet. Sister Shenxian, continue, I must hatch the flame dragon eagle. Chen Shang laughed. I believe you can do it. Oh right, I need to go back to the super martial school. It might be some time before I return. Go, you don't have to worry about us. Shui Shenxian walked in front of Chen Shang, stood on her tiptoes and kissed Chen Shang on the lips. Chen Shang took out the Luo Tianmen, opened a spatial door, and went to the forest outside the city of the king. After that, he entered the city and passed through the transmission array, returning to the Chen martial continent. Inside Super Martial School, Ji Yu Dongchen was looking at Chen Shang in disbelief. Young senior uncle, what method did you use to make the Devil Subduing College forget about you? And not only that, you also didn't investigate the past, allowing you to continue staying in the Devil Subduing College. Ji Yu Dongchen was very suspicious about this. That's my ability. I'm going to look for Master. Do you want to come with me? Chen Shang laughed. Hearing that he was going to look for Huang Jintian, Ji Dongchen looked like he had seen a ghost. His expression changed and he anxiously shook his head. Go by yourself, I have to take charge of Super Martial School now, I don't have time to make him suffer. After returning to the Super Martial School, Chen Shang felt that the atmosphere in the Super Martial School had changed. Everyone inside acted very quickly, and the cities outside had become much quieter, and the number of Super Martial School disciples who were looking for fun in the city had become fewer and fewer. Currently, the Super Martial School was enveloped in a nervous atmosphere. Everyone was speeding up their pace to increase their strength, because once the Great War between three realms erupted, this Chen Martial continent would be the front line for the battlefield. When Huang Jintian saw that Chen Shang had arrived, he was no longer surprised. He did not torture him anymore as he stared at Chen Shang with a look of disbelief. Little brat, you're actually able to steadily raise your cultivation without relying on me. Furthermore, it happened so quickly, just how did you manage to do that? Huang Jintian tugged on Chen Zhang's ear and asked. The last time Chen Shang had entered the spirit martial realm, he was here, but not long after, Chen Shang had entered the soul martial realm. I stayed in the stellar transposition realm for a long time, and I even learned a powerful martial arts, which helped me steadily increase my cultivation. Chen Shang anxiously said, and then explained the situation between stellar transposition realm and him. Huang Jintian released Chen Shang. So it's like that, there really are many extraordinary powers outside. Master, can you help me predict the nirvana doom of two people? Both of them are at the nirvana tribulation. Chen Shang said. Such a heaven-defying ability like Huang Jintian was extremely rare in this world. Huang Jintian stroked his beard, and said straightforwardly, one of them must be Lu Meng'er, that girl. I never thought that she would grow up so fast. I remember she just passed the 7th tribulation not long ago. Who is the other one? Previously, Huang Jintian had said that anyone that Chen Shang trusted could come to him to predict nirvana doom. She is called Hua Shangyu, Dan Fragrance Pure Land A. Before Chen Shang could finish his words, he was interrupted by Huang Jintian. This Hua Shangyu is no good, as for why you didn't ask, I won't tell you. Chen Shang was dumbstruck. He actually couldn't help Hua Shangyu predict nirvana doom, and there was another reason as well. Why? Chen Shang wanted to know, and anxiously asked. I told you not to ask, be careful that I didn't beat you up. Huang Jintian waved his hands as he released the dragon power. Very quickly, Huang Jintian condensed a white pearl. Inside it was the content of Lu Meng'er's 8 tribulations. Chen Shang took it, put it away properly, and was about to leave. However, he was stopped by Huang Jintian. Seeing the mischievous smile on Huang Jintian's face, Chen Shang knew that he was about to get into trouble. Just as he was pulled back, his back was hit by Huang Jintian's palm. The pain spread throughout his entire body, causing him to feel weak. Following that, Huang Jintian began to train on him, causing him to scream miserably. It was extremely cruel. Huang Jintian kept doing this for over a month. During this month, although Chen Shang felt like he was in hell, the rewards he reaped were great because Huang Jintian was always fighting with him, training him in actual combat. You can go now. Huang Jintian stretched his back. Chen Shang did not say anything. He immediately jumped, but just as he jumped up, his body was suddenly locked down by a force. Master, please spare me. Chen Shang pleaded. Hee, before you left, I'll teach you another move. Your senior brother only learned it when you were in the 100 refining realm, but I feel that you should be able to learn it now. Huang Jintian chuckled, his hands pushed forward, and an incomparably majestic dragon power surged out from his palms. These dragon power were different from the ones Chen Shang had seen before. They were extremely powerful, and formed into a white mist. Dragon subduing returning essence. Huang Jintian laughed. The terrifying chi released from his hands turned into a mighty white dragon. Baring his fangs and brandishing his claws, he pounced towards Chen Shang. The dragon's roar pierced through the clouds, shaking the world. Just as it was about to reach Chen Shang, the white dragon that was made of terrifying energy suddenly disappeared, but it brought along a gust of wind that blew Chen Shang out of the deep pit. Chen Zhang's bottom fell onto the grass beside the sky cavern, and the dragon's roar that he had just received was still reverberating in the super-martial profound realm. He still vividly remembered that destructive force, and when he thought back to it, he felt that he would be immediately destroyed.